Welcome to the Phantom Zone.
But,
well, I mean, just like the idea that, everyone kind of, like the running joke online is like, oh, like, what if John Wick fought Thanos? Like, oh, he could take down the Avengers. I'm like, I think like a more realistic, kind of fun comic that I assume has been pitched at some point because every crossover is pitched at some point. But I think like a John Wick Punisher comic would be a lot of fun.
I need this in my veins, in my eyeballs, in everything.
yeah, I'm sure, like, who makes Wick? Is it, who, like, does that movie?
Lionsgate.
I mean, there's a John Wick comic that I assume published by Dynamite. If I was a betting man. And I'd be right. Yep, John Wick is over at Dynamite.
Ooh, that actually would be... They're kind of a good company for that because they do all that pulp stuff. So
yeah, it's funny because like Dynamite had like a real bad stigma for like the longest time for being kind of a garbage company. Like their art was bad. They would spend like a lot of money on their covers, but there was like kind of like no substance in between the covers.
I can't remember which. They did like a while where like Alex Ross was doing like 4 covers for each book. Like
yeah, but I hear like their last like 3 years of stuff has been like there was that Batman Shadow miniseries that ran that I guess was like really good, and that was kind of like, I don't know. I felt like kind of like the turn on that company.
Oh, I heard one that I kind of want to read that they did was called like Masks, and it was like a crossover. So it was Spider, the Phantom, the Shadow, and Green Hornet and Kato.
Yeah,
like a team up book,
and that sounds like probably super dope to someone. I don't know.
I know it's
way older than me.
Yeah, it's characters from like the 20s and 30s.
Yeah.
I'm still kind of on this John Wick Punisher idea. If I can get the Punisher and Eminem crossing over, I can get John Wick and the Punisher. Like, how am I allowed to have like one but not the other?
I'm sure that they're gonna figure something. I guess it depends on like who has like the sort of the rights. Like I could either see him with the Punisher or with who would it?
Deathstroke?
Yeah, Deathstroke maybe, or Deadshot, like one, or like in the like going against the Suicide Squad.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, like I think either of those work like amazingly well.
There's one I can see happening, and that's John Wick versus Deadpool.
Yeah, that popped in my head, and I was just like, that's something that if Marvel got it, they would do, and I would just be like, like.
I mean, like the reason I brought up John Wick and the Punisher is because like I feel like both, like my favorite Punisher is like the one where it's like he's like a phantom. Like Greg Rucka wrote him like I thought like pretty well because like the first couple of issues it was like all from the points of view of like cops, and they would just talk about him, like they would talk about him in the way that
people talk about the Axeman.
People would talk about like Michael Myers, like the Shape, the Phantom, like this guy who was like this force of nature who would come in and get out.
It's like a boogeyman.
Yeah, and John Wick like has like they call him like Baba Yaga.
Yeah.
Like he's a ghost, and it's like I feel like they might like be a little bit too much on the same level, so it might be like too one note. But I feel like you have like the sensibilities of both of them that would like work really well. But can the theatrics of like what makes John Wick good be transferred into still panels of a comic book?
That's fair. It's like you're kind of capturing the craziness of that film series and putting it in the panel. Like, again, the new trailer just came out, and how can you capture John Wick on a horse or on a motorcycle fighting dudes with a katana? How do you put that into a comic?
Yeah. Well,
I mean, need like a really amazing artist to like do like that kind of kinetic.
The movement in motion the movies is kind of like the best part of the movies, in my opinion. So, like getting that translated over to panels would be interesting.
Because Titan did a Raid comic that was just like, I mean, like the art wasn't great. It was kind of boring. It did not have like the energy of the Raid or the Raid Redemption or the Raid 2.
God, how can you capture that in a comic? Especially that mud fight scene in the prison. Forget it.
Oh, like my favorite fight scene in Raid 2 is the fight in the kitchen because like everything is white. Like the walls, the counters, the floor, like everything's white.
That.
So then like as the fight goes on and it's like the hand-to-hand blade fight, it just like becomes like redder and redder as the scene goes on.
Sorry, just ignore the robot.
That's fine. I hear a robot. I was like, who's the robot? I'm like, oh, there's the robot.
He's actually working this time.
Yeah, goddamn Canadian robot keeps dropping out.
Hey, man.
Backup is still there.
I don't know why, but the robot sounds like Red Tornado from the DC Abridged universe. Maybe that's
yes.
I could talk about. Ignore me.
Shut up.
Go away.
Oh man, I cannot wait to like catch up to the Young Justice season that just came out because he's only in like one shot of one episode and he's not in his Red Tornado thing.
Speaking of which, God bless DC Universe for giving that free trial this past weekend.
Oh yeah, that's a great idea. Like I have it. I've been I watched Titan. I have not watched Doom Patrol yet because I'm a bad nerd.
Oh, it's so good.
But I like Titans a lot. Like I wanted to hate it and I gave it past like 3. I usually try to give the show 3 episodes and then it got me by the 3rd.
Yeah, no, I can see that. I'm the same way. I have the 3-episode rule where it's very rare if an episode catches me in a single one. Like Flash is the only one that has captured me in a single episode, and well, that's been a roller coaster. But anyway,
yeah, I'm very excited to watch Doom Patrol at some point, but I have like negative interest in Titans.
Yeah, the only to like touch on it quickly, but like the biggest problem Titans had is that all of the stuff they put out for it was all from that pilot and was super out of context in the worst possible ways.
And especially how, like, in respect to how the season ends, my God.
Oh yeah, it's dark and not. It kind of starts off snattery, but then when they do like backstory stuff, like I would say the 3 best episodes are the ones that aren't concentrating on the main Titan. It's the Doom Patrol episode is amazing, and then I think the 2 Hawk and Dove episodes are great, especially the second one. I think the second one where you get their backstory is like a great episode of television. And I love that the guy that played Aquaman on Smallville is fucking Hawk in this, and he's great.
And what's his face from Blue Mountain State?
Oh, yeah. Well, he's been in a bunch of stuff, but he usually plays like giant dumb guy, which he kind of still does, but he does it good.
How long is this free trial for DC Universe?
So it was only for I think it ended yesterday because they were only airing the first episodes of each of their shows for free, and I think it ended yesterday.
I think you can do like a week free trial though.
You can, but I think without getting into a free trial, they were allowing people to publicly view the first episodes of Titans, Outsiders, and Doom Patrol for free without having to go into a free trial and then see if you wanted to go afterwards.
I'll like hold on to that free trial until all of
they're doing actually a good job of releasing like an insane amount of comics on it though.
I heard that the comics portion of it has become insane.
Yeah, like they straight up, whatever, especially if there's like a movie or television thing happening or an anniversary, they're like, oh, here is like every issue of like that you want to read of that character.
They have about 64 issues of Starman, which I'm really stoked about.
Yeah, well, that's because like when he popped into the Justice League book, they're like, oh, people probably have no idea who Starman is. Let's throw all of our comics on the app for him.
Oh no, this is way before.
Well, he's been in Rebirth for like 6 months now. He just woke up, but in an issue that people cannot stop talking about, which is that Jojo like page, which became like kind of a meme over the last week, which is hilarious. Which, if you don't know, Jojo is the cutoff, like a kind of piece of Starro that Batman cut off when Starro died, and is now basically training as his like new Robin.
Oh yeah, he's wearing like a nappy or something.
Yeah, it's to not spoil it. It's like it's only like a 1-page thing, but like they have had interaction throughout the Justice League book, and Jojo refers to Batman as Dad, like throughout all of it. But then that like 1-page thing, they like it's hard to explain because it's like that book is like crazy convoluted right now. But like that 1-page scene is just like a one-off, but it's an awesome and hilarious like shot. But let's crack into some of this news. This is a decently big news week, I would say.
I mean, C2E2 is this week, so
yeah.
It's a big Chicago comics convention. It's also put on by the people who do Emerald City. Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Comic-Con they do too? Isn't that Repop or is that the people?
It's Repop.
Okay.
Wait, so C2E2 does New York and not San Diego?
C2E2 Chicago.
Okay, sure. Well, I mean, like, the people that do it do the New York Comic Con and they don't do San Diego?
I don't know who does the Chicago New York.
Oh, okay.
I've never been there.
But yeah, some couple of interesting things. The one that popped up, well, for me at least interesting, was the first one I put up here, which is they're talking about Squadron Supreme, which would be real interesting. I know they brought them back for like a little bit, but did they kill them all off again, except for Hyperion?
No, I know, like, Hyperion's been around for a while, and then I want to say, like, Princess Power and, like, a couple of others have shown up recently.
Yeah, it's just, like, kind of interesting, because they're, like, I just find it fun when they, like, get tied into, like, any sort of big crossover book, because they are, like, they're the Marvel making fun of the Justice League. So, I don't know, I always find it amusing, and I have liked some of the books that they've done in the past. I actually really liked when they rebooted it.
I wouldn't say that, like, Squadron Supreme is like them making fun of them. I think they're an homage to them.
That it kind of started as that, but then now they're kind of their own thing.
Well,
they're
I mean,
homage.
the guy who created Squadron Supreme, like, he didn't do it as a joke. Like, that guy loved doing Squadron Supreme enough that, like, when he died, his ashes were put into, like, the inks of the first run of trades for that book.
Wow, that's the most metal thing I have ever heard.
Yeah, that's cool as hell.
But yeah, Nighthawk was in some comics, like, recently, like Power Princess, I want to say, has shown up every once in a while. But, like, they did, like, some bullshit with Squadron Supreme, like, in the mid 2000s with J. Michael Krasinski, which I remember at the time people, like, were just like, oh, it's, like, so good, but, like, time has not been kind to that J. Michael Krasinski run, because it, like, also has, like, that same mid 2000s comics problem where, like, the Ultimates and Identity Crisis just kind of ruined comics for a little bit, and then everyone tried to be realistic and dark and gritty for a long while.
And don't forget, which one was it? One More Day or Brand New Day?
Yeah, I mean, that story's bad, but I feel like Identity Crisis and Ultimates was, like, a little bit more, because, yeah, I feel like those books are a lot more.
Disturbs me. That's me.
At least we got good comics out of One More Day.
Good as in entertainingly bad, or just?
I mean, I think it's debatable on, like, stories that came after Brand New Day. And you could debate those stories could have been told, you know, without the events of One More Day. But I think that there was some, like, pretty cool stuff that came out after Brand New Day, like, specifically from, like, Zeb Wells and Joe Kelly.
The problem with
like, the Dan Slott's, the early Dan Slott Spider-Man stuff is, like, not bad.
The problem with Brand New Day is just that it was the biggest writing cop out of, like, oh shit, we painted ourselves into a corner.
Oh sure, but, like. I also, like, kind of believe that, you know, people were like, well, you know, One More Day, like, ruined Spider-Man, but I would also make the argument that I think J. Michael Straczynski, like, had been, like, kind of messing up Spider-Man way before that. Like, he also wrote Since Past, which is just the single worst Spider-Man story I think has ever been written. Since Past, for people who don't know, is the story about how Gwen Stacy actually secretly had an affair with Norman Osborn and then had mutated goblin babies.
Sorry, thank you for telling me that exists. I need to find that, and I need to read that.
Yeah, that book sucks.
He sent her to, like, sucks. England or something, and then it's where she had the twins. And then they somehow, because the goblins here, like, age, like, up really fast. So they, like, show up as, like, adults, but they're, like, toddlerish or something like that, or they show up and they're fully grown adults at some point.
Yeah, because of the accelerated growth serum that's in, like, in Norman Osborn's goblin semen.
Of course. How could I not remember that?
God, that book sucks. It's like the pits.
Because you know what? When I want to think about Spider-Man and the friendly web slinger, goblin semen. That's what I want.
Yeah,
well,
because,
it could
like,
be worse.
Right.
Is that worse than when they had? Was it Spider-Man Reign? Is that worse, or is that on the same level?
Since Past is worse because it actively is harmful to a character who has been dead for, like, 35 years. Yeah. While Spider-Man Reign is an out continuity story.
Yeah,
like,
he does also kill Mary Jane with his spider cum.
Yeah, but like that's
does whatever a spider can.
But that's out of
radioactive spider come.
But like that story is like out of continuity. Like you can easily forget about that story. Like I'll start Batman and Robin, I can instantly forget about it ever happened because it's not part of the continuity of Batman. But like Sins Past is like a numbered Amazing Spider-Man book. Like that shit is canon. Like they even brought those children back in Brand New Day, and that's the kind of shit you get rid of in a reboot.
Oh man.
I'm just going through like the issues and looking at the synopsis quickly. It all looks terrible. I'm so excited to find this.
Oh yeah,
it is,
like
it's. I think it's no like whenever you see those lists of like worst like arcs in like a major character, it's up there. It's in like a top 5.
Yeah, Sins Past is easily one of the worst comics that Marvel has ever published, and that's
I'm
up there.
Looking at the wiki, and I just love that it says that he stated that Straczynski wanted Peter Parker, the father of Gwen's kids, but the editors were like, no. How is this? Why?
But like, also, it's like, why does Peter Parker need to have like secret twins from like a girlfriend that died like so long ago? Like,
because
why is that even?
Comic books are the same thing as soap operas, so they just recycle each other's storylines. Like,
I don't know why, but I just have the image of Willem Dafoe's Norman Osborn for some reason with Gwen Stacy, and now I'm laughing about it.
Which Gwen Stacy?
God.
The one from his trilogy or the one from the other one?
Oh, the one from his trilogy. I'm not giving him the one. I'm not giving him Emma Stone.
Oh, so Bryce Dallas Howard?
Yes.
Poor Ron Howard.
Man,
poor Bryce Dallas Howard. Oh, I'm a fan of her.
I am too, but that was, oh boy.
And we've seen like William Dafoe's dick in movies.
Oh God.
Dude has shown his dick in like multiple movies.
It's for art. He's a true artist.
It's funny you say that because one of them was by Lars von Trier.
Yeah.
So it was like
that dude loves sex.
Right?
He made 2 volumes on a movie about sex. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the man's a big sex fan.
Yeah.
If I'm thinking of the right movie?
I mean, if he's been in a Lars von Trier movie, he's been naked, and we have seen his dick.
I appreciate the connection has gone from comics, Willem Dafoe, Lars von Trier, dicks.
Can this episode be titled Willem Dafoe's Dick?
Yes. Yeah, I can make it.
Thank you.
I mean, only if it's a long episode.
Damn.
That's going to go into the clips.
Yep.
I just bought Aquaman, and you know what? I think I want to see someone's review. Aquaman, 1 star. No Willem Dafoe dick.
That'll be my next website, Willem Dafoe's Dick, and it'll just be a list of all the movies with his dick in it.
All right, speaking of something huge and gray, apparently Marvel's bringing back the Grey Hulk.
Hey, that was
what a segue.
That was so good.
Wow.
Is anyone else reading in that Hulk book?
I remember you telling me about it, and I couldn't figure out because there's so many goddamn like weird titles. So it's Immortal Hulk, I think is the one you're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the one with
that we're like, what if we told Hulk as like an old movie monster?
Oh yeah, you linked the art. I remember that. It was really gorgeous.
So from the looks of like the panel, he doesn't look super gray. He looks kind of albino-y.
That's great.
This is like a crossover with Conan.
This is all in Avengers No Road Home.
Like Conan Barbarian or Conan O'Brien?
Yeah, Marvel, Conan.
Oh man, I wish it was Conan O'Brien.
Marvel just got the rights. I think Conan O'Brien has like stuff with DC or something, doesn't he?
Yeah, he was on Young Justice.
Okay, I didn't realize Conan the Barbarian was owned by Marvel.
They just got the rights for like comic book rights for him.
Okay.
I want to say they're like about 5 issues in on the new Conan series. Like old Conan people seem to be pretty okay with it. Younger Conan fans seem to be like liking it pretty much.
It's a weird character like that was created by a guy who was really kooky and had a lot of shit going on in his life. So, like the original stories, and like it's just like a dude running around in a loincloth, killing and having sex, and that's all it is.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
But yeah, so I guess it's like you have like Conan the Barbarian, hanging out in like the age of whatever in the main Conan books, but then Avengers No Road Home, like I guess Conan the Barbarian's running around modern day, and this is supposed to set up Savage Avengers with like Wolverine and Punisher and Elektra and Conan on a team.
Yeah, it's like not.
That's so cool.
It's like not X-Force, but it's kind of X-Force.
Wait, is Conan?
I heard Punisher and Conan, and I just got really happy.
Yeah, and they stick Wolverine in there because.
What is this? Let me look up this team again. Yeah, it's Wolverine, Elektra, Venom, Conan. And I believe like Dr. Voodoo or Brother Voodoo.
So that's actually like a great D&D team because you got a ninja, you got your mage.
Yeah, you got everything like kind of sorted properly. If you could get like a bard or somebody who could just like inspire the party, that'd be set, man.
Is Donny Cates writing it or Jerry Duggan?
Jerry Duggan.
Okay, that figures because Brother Voodoo was in Uncanny Avengers.
Brother Voodoo's an awesome. I would love to see him in a movie, like a live action character. I don't know if they can get away with calling him Brother Voodoo.
Who is Brother Voodoo?
Brother Voodoo is like Black Doctor Strange, but like voodoo-y.
Cool.
Well, okay, so like Jericho Drumm is like he's like a really good magician, but he kind of like runs into the problem of like kind of like he like knows he's a black man who knows voodoo and hoodoo and all that shit, and then like
he's an exploitation character that they revamp like in many ways.
Yeah, and they like kind of like he used to go by Brother Voodoo, which was like a little like but then like a couple years ago, when they were like trying to find like a new Sorcerer Supreme, Jericho Drumm became the new Sorcerer Supreme for a while. And that book ain't bad. Like I want to say it was written by Rick Remender, but it got canceled in like 5 issues. So
yeah. Well, I think he's a character that like he's not a character currently that could like lead his own book unless you get someone amazing like writing that has a name.
Yeah, if I also remember right, like he has like a brother that's dead who like is like a spirit that hangs out with him.
Yes, so... I believe that's true. He's an interesting character, but he's also like I said, he's like one of those exploitation type characters, like a Shang-Chi. Like, he's from that same era.
It's where it gets problematic, I imagine.
Yeah, and they just reinvented him like several times over the years. Yeah, because I think they dropped the brother. He was just like, Dr. Voodoo at one point. I don't know if that's when he was the Sorcerer Supreme.
Yeah.
And then he was just going by like, I don't know. He's an interesting character. Because he's basically like the number 2 magic guy in Marvel.
Okay, cool.
That's actually kind of neat, actually. That actually would be a really good setup for if you want to be like number 1 or something.
Mm-hmm. Well, they did. I guess they kind of like took a little bit of his stuff and like used it with Mordo in the Doctor Strange movie.
Oh, okay. Like at the end of it, sort of thing, like the end credit scene.
Because Mordo was like a terrible. He's a dumb character in the comic books because he's like a Transylvanian and like
the fuck.
Yeah, in the comic books, Mordo is like a Transylvanian. He was part of Hydra, so he was like kind of like an Eastern European like Nazi.
About the proper British monk man we met in the movie kind of thing?
No. Okay. Yeah. So, what was our next thing on here? Oh, the Hickman. Because we talked about it last week. We were all right. Hickman is doing an X-Men event. So it was it 2 stories, House of X and Powers of X? So is this
I saw something teased about this during, like, right before C2E2 started. Like, right before it started, I saw just Hickman's name, and that was it.
Quick side question. Wasn't House of X the run where Scarlet Witch kind of fixed all the Marvel problems?
Was House of M.
House of M, okay.
House of M's been on my reading list for a while, too.
House of M is pretty awesome.
I've also heard that, like, nonstop from everybody.
The concept is, like, awesome and really interesting. Actually, one of my favorite parts of that book is actually Spider-Man.
Oh, yeah?
Spider-Man is, like, real interesting, because he basically is in the closet of being not a mutant, and basically passes himself off as a mutant in that world.
Okay, yeah.
And, I don't know, it's interesting, because, like, I'm trying to remember who are the characters that remember everything. It's, like, Wolverine, sort of Spider-Man, and then, like, 1 or 2 other people. And they're, like, the only people, and basically, like, their abilities make it so that it's, like, screwing with the world. So, like, the Spider Sense and like Wolverine, like, I don't know. It was like weird how they explained it, but it was like basically them going like kind of schizophrenic-y. But there's like a lot of interesting stuff in that story. So if it has anything of like this kind of world where mutants are in control, but I don't know, maybe I'll check the X-Men this. I'm trying to look on the bench. Who is next to Professor X? Is that Hope?
Could be Moira. It could be I don't know. But I mean, it's like you have two different genes on here. You have like a lot of characters who are like in costumes that you haven't had for a while.
Yeah. Well, my guess is based on House of M and this is House of X. Like, this is a world where Xavier took over. Instead of Magneto.
I do not know, because I don't think they have said anything what this story is about. Because currently we're in the Age of X right now.
Mm-hmm.
Which is like the X-Men utopia where no one has sex.
Oh, yeah. I still have that book and I have not read it.
The horny cops stopping you from boning.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, there's, what's-her-name is there, too, from the Shire.
Yeah, Lalandra.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone...
Magneto. That's, what's her name?
Dazzler.
Dazzler, yeah. Her awesome disco outfit.
Yeah, like, you got classic Jubilee.
Is that Vulcan?
You have that son of a bitch Vulcan.
Why?
Possibly the worst character created in X-Men in like the last like 20 years.
Oh who is he?
He's the other Summers brother.
He's the third. He's the third Summers brother, the shitty one.
There's a third one. I thought there was.
Yeah, he was when the parents were killed. His mom was pregnant, and they ripped the baby from her womb and artificially aged him up. Of course.
Oh, thank you. Of course.
He was
dumb of me not to figure that out.
Okay. Oh, but like the thing about it is like that there has always been hinting that there was like a third Summers brother. Yeah. Like even in the 80s. Like Claremont was building to like a third Summers brother. Like,
was it? I can't remember. Wasn't there like someone that he was thinking about doing it?
At one point it was supposed to be Gambit.
Oh god.
At one point it was supposed to be Adam X the Extreme.
Oh yeah, we talked about that an episode or two ago. Oh god, that's the 90s.
I assume that there were like other ones, but like really, like Adam X and Gambit would have been way better choices than what we got with Vulcan. Because Vulcan like not only like sucks as a character, but he also sucks as like one of the worst retcons that like
that's
Marvel did, where like
the second team.
Yeah, so Ed Brubaker wrote this story called Deadly Genesis, and it was revealed that before Xavier put together the team of the X-Men that we know now.
No. We get the first team, like the Cyclops team. Something happened to them where they get trapped on an island.
Oh yeah, they get caught on Krakoa.
Yeah, so he builds a secondary team of like 4 people because it's
a bunch of losers that doesn't matter, and Vulcan.
Yeah, well, no, it's Vulcan, Darwin. And then some girl, I can't remember. She has like rock powers.
It doesn't matter because they died.
Yeah.
But then it's like this. Like evidently, it's been the secret for like X amount of years that Xavier knew about the third Summers brother and never told Cyclops about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's
because he got him killed.
I can see why people hate that.
I mean, Xavier's like a dickhead, but he ain't that big of a dickhead.
He's a benevolent dickhead, not just a dickhead.
We're not even done with the origins. So, like, they go to the island to rescue the other team. They end up getting killed, what you think, but the rock chick basically saves Darwin and, oh my god, I just blanked on his name. Vulcan. And then they return, like, after being, like, in stasis for, 40 years? And they pop back up in 2018. So they're supposed to have been, like, in stasis since, like, whenever the X-Men first started, 80s?
I thought it was the 60s.
Yeah, 60s.
Okay. And then so they pop back up, and then Vulcan just becomes like, he takes over the Shi'ar. And they kind of did this other retcon thing where each Summers Brothers powers are like a different type of radiation or something.
Yeah,
so,
I think someone here brought that up once.
Radioactive. Scott's is solar, and I don't remember what's name's. Vulcan. But he's also just a piece
Havoc.
of shit.
Havoc.
The Havoc's was like regular radiation, and Vulcan was like something else.
But yeah, whatever. I'm done talking about Vulcan. Yeah. But House of X, Power of X, I'm like saying this as I have a stack of 8 Amazing Spider-Man comics that have just been piling up because this book releases I feel like every week now. And
you keep saying that. That's insane.
And I hate the idea of weekly events. Like, I got behind on Uncanny X-Men because I was also a 12-part weekly miniseries. And this is also a weekly miniseries. But at least House of X and Power of X will be told, bi-weekly. So, at least it's I get a chance to, read the book for the week.
Why are they doing these, bi-weekly books and not monthly?
Because people buy them. They have that Avengers book that's weekly right now. The one with the Grey Hulk.
they also did something similar where they had all the Avengers teams with what was it, No Surrender?
That's the book we're talking. Yeah, and that's like the sequel book to the thing. But like, I mean, they must do it because people are buying them, and I'm like the loser that's buying that decided to like the Spider-Man book by Nick Spencer, and now I have to spend like all this money on like this Hunted series that they're doing a 10-issue like weekly series for it.
It could be worse. It could be like really into Doomsday Clock, and you have to wait like 4 years to finish it.
Oh my god! At least I would be able to like get caught up on the book and afford it.
You would forget that it exists when the next issue comes out.
I just feel like every week that's just a lot of money you're spending for I don't know how many months or how long it's gonna take story.
Yeah. Like, look, man, I read Doom Patrol. Like, I'm used to like books waiting months for them to come out. So
fair.
No, you have Umbrella Academy like in your buying list, and that's a book that barely comes out.
Mm-hmm.
No, Umbrella Academy comes out on time.
Does it? I feel like there's only been like a couple issues over the last. I don't know how long it's been.
Issue 6 comes out this week.
Okay, I redact my comment then.
To jump to the next news item, which kind of ties into, so I guess Marvel's bringing back Strife.
Wait, what?
Sure.
Yeah, that's another one I'm gonna need to explain.
Yeah,
do I care?
He's Cable's clone, but not.
God damn it, guys!
He's a different guy.
Guys, enough! Clones of the same character.
Was he artificially aged up? Because I feel like he was too.
My brain hurts. Ow.
Like, that's really good art. I like the art. I don't see why I should care about
He basically wears like
anyone.
Like his Shredder outfit. I have a figure behind me too.
I need to get my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle fix somewhere.
Oh, well, my question is like, why is Ace from the Royal Flush Gang hanging out with him?
Clearly, it's a gang full of people that just exclusively look cool.
Well, it looks
That's
like
it.
That's
like the only reason they hang out.
It's like 80s punk Storm, and then I don't know who the other three people are.
Yeah, no idea.
The origin of Kid Cable.
I hate it.
The origin of Kid Cable. His name is Strife. It's Kid Cable.
I hate every part of this. Strife.
Yeah, I like some of that X-Men bullshit. I do not like Strife.
Oh no. Well, it's like, I don't know why it's become like vogue now that everything that one of the worst artists that's like super famous ever did is like all his shit's now like coming back. I don't get it.
I mean,
wait, Rob Liefeld's coming back?
Yeah.
Well, I mean
these are all his characters.
Well, I mean, Rob Liefeld drew it, but like Louise Simonson created him.
Okay, I just kind of everything X-Men from like the 90s, I just throw to Rob Liefeld's blame pouch. He has enough pouches to carry all that blame, but...
Some might say too many pouches.
I don't know. But I think we can jump into the next Marvel one, which is they're doing Absolute Carnage. Now, is this Spider-Verse or Venom-verse, but with Carnage?
It's the Donny Cates run is all leading up to this event, and I don't know, it keeps making these broad strokes in the article saying it's going to like go everywhere.
I think we kind of talked about this last week, and they just didn't name what it was yet.
Yeah, we didn't have any like clue. We were just kind of guessing.
Yeah.
I would like a Carnage verse story, because I feel like it'd just be Carnage killing a lot of people.
That's pretty much what it's going to be. The tagline is so generic, I can't get over it.
So it's going to be like Doomsday Clock?
Yeah, pretty much.
I don't know, man. Like, Absolute Carnage is not a bad name. Like, I feel like it also just kind of harkens back to...
Oh, it's very, like...
Maximum Carnage?
That's exactly what I was thinking. One of my favorite games to ever play on Sega Genesis. As well as, obviously, the comic.
Absolute Carnage encompasses every single character who has ever worn a symbiote, and every symbiote that has ever been, going all the way back to when Peter found the black suit, going from there to Maximum Carnage to Venomize to everything. Everyone's a target. Which is cool, because one of my favorite Venom characters is Mania, and she hasn't shown up for a while.
Oh, yeah, that was Venom's sidekick. Because in the cover it has Parker, Brock, Logan, and Rogers as the gravestones that you can read.
Yeah.
So, I guess, well, didn't, like, everybody wear a symbiote in, like, the Venomverse thing? Or, like, Age of... I don't know what they called it, when, like, there were just symbiotes everywhere? I don't know.
Kind of. Like, the Donny Cates run kind of says that symbiotes have been around for a lot longer, and a lot of people have used them. Some we do know and some we don't. Like, they make some inferences that maybe Nick Fury used a symbiote, because he was heavily involved in the program. Because it dates back... White.
Okay. Yeah, I was actually going to say that.
You could have just said senior.
I don't know the difference.
One's the bastard son of the other. But he
Really?
was sent to another dimension.
Wait, what?
What?
Yeah.
Sorry, hold the fucking phone. What?
Yeah, that's what they retconned, that Black Nick Fury is the bastard son of White Nick Fury.
Oh yeah, you didn't know that?
No, I had no idea.
Yeah.
Well, no.
So-
Okay, wait, no. Like,
What? I did not know this.
okay, so there's like the Nick Fury from the Ultimates universe, right?
Okay.
That guy's different. They introduced this new guy,
But he's basically the same guy.
who's basically the same guy, but like also like a lot younger. And his name is, and he ends up like having his name changed to like Nick Fury Jr. And it's like revealed that he's like the actual legit son of like Nick Fury, white guy, David Hasselhoff.
You could have said.
And-
You could have just said of Howling Commando's fame.
No, I
Yeah.
think David Hasselhoff's pretty good.
That is a movie that needs to get watched in one of these podcasts.
Movie special.
So when they did Original Sin, and Hasselhoff Fury like went crazy because he like looked into the Watcher's eye. That was like the way of like them kind of like moving things around, putting that Fury on the moon, while like Nick Fury Jr. is like the new Nick Fury of Earth.
Wild. Love it. Okay, cool. Thank you for that history lesson.
There was like a Fury book starring that character like a year ago.
Written by James Robinson.
Was that book written by James Robinson?
Yeah, and
I think I read an issue of it.
The
'cause it
thing
was
that gets
Marvel too.
that makes me mad about it, he said he was going to show up. Nick Fury Sr. was going to show up. Then the book gets canned. He never showed up.
Yeah, because the book got canned.
I kind of want Endgame to put this idea in now, where Samuel L. Jackson is just the bastard son of David Hasselhoff.
Oh, perfect.
Like the Ultimate guy is like legit, like just based like the entire design of that character on Samuel L. Jackson.
Right, I knew that. I think they got the likeness from him. They got the okay, I think.
Oh yeah, and he was just basically like, yeah, Marvel, you can do that, but if you ever make a movie, like you have to. And they're like, well, we definitely don't want to do that. Obviously, like being super sarcastic. So
Yeah, it was James Robinson, and it got like a lot of press because the author or the artist for that book was Akko.
Who did the Midnighter and
Yeah.
Midnighter and Apollo.
Yeah, and Akko is just really good.
He kicks ass.
all right, do we want to talk? I don't really care about that last Marvel story. I do want to talk about Idris Elba. I guess he's in all comic book movies now. Is interested in doing a Mouse Guard movie.
Yeah,
Now, what is Mouse
let him
Guard?
do whatever
I
he
saw
wants.
this.
Man.
So
go
Mouse Guard's
ahead.
oh no, you can explain it.
Mouse Guard's like just basically like a long-running independent comic series that's like very, high fantasy, but instead of like, regular fantasy tropes, like the characters are like mice.
Okay.
It's like I've never really delved super highly into Mouse Guard, but like I know friends who are just like adored by it.
Yeah, I've never heard of the story until I saw
Like-
the rounds that it's Elbow cast in it, or might be
Like-
cast in it.
Think Lord of the Rings, but everybody's mice.
Okay, I can get
And
that.
like what they're fighting is like birds and snakes, but they are giant to them because they're mice.
That sounds dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be down to read that.
Yeah. So like, and I know in the thing, he's like, I don't want to do an animated thing. So I don't know what that means. He's like, I think it's basically like, he said, like, I don't want to do Disney or like he doesn't want to do a Pixar or DreamWorks. So I think what his meaning is like, he wants it to be like adult and it's kind
Which-
of,
Like motion capture?
no, more like it's like a serious take. I think it's more on like not the style, but the
Themes and the tone.
themes.
Which,
Yeah.
which I don't know, man. Like, I feel like that's just like a treacherous path. Like, I don't want to bring up like Zack Snyder again, but he did that that Owl movie a couple years ago.
The Gahul one.
Yeah.
And it's just like the idea that it's like, oh, like what if we did like, like I don't know, like they're aiming a little
I
too
thought that
high
movie
when
that
they.
should be-
I love that movie if it was like if they cut out 90% of the slow-mo shots and that movie would be like half an hour shorter and much
But
better.
it's like the idea. It's like if you make stuff for kids, and if it happens to be like a little dangerous, like cool, but like don't aim for like dark, grimdark. Yeah, exactly. Like
Like a Watership Down sort of thing?
Yeah, this is. I would say there's a lot of comparisons. I would say to Watership Down, except for obviously like the setting, but like it's very similar and like kind of what. Which
I'm
is it?
getting the sense this is very similar. Looking at it now.
Yeah, it's like very. So it's like everything that they do. It's very like Knights of the Round Table type stuff, but with mice. So like it can work for kids. Like I would say like doing it like the same tone as Lord of the Rings, but like animated would be
Sure.
fine. Because like that's
I can
not
see
like
that.
too adulty. Like it's still like you just don't show like decapitating like all the animals. Like Harry Potter, especially towards the end, got pretty dark. I could say you could do it like kind of a similar tone to that.
Sure, but like also Harry Potter grew with its audience.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that there's ways to do this.
Like no one was eaten by a snake in Harry Potter 1.
No, but the guy was.
built-
The
No,
guy was
J.K.
drinking-
Rowling might get around to say that.
the
She might come around
The
and
guy-
say that in a few weeks.
guy was drinking the blood of a unicorn killed. That's pretty brutal.
That is
It's-
Well,
solidly
J.K. Rowling
cool.
might come out and say that was a sexual encounter. So
Oh,
I
God.
feel
A
I feel like
strong.
I
The
feel like drinking,
basilisk was Harry's dad the whole time.
Oh my God.
I knew
feel
it!
Like, I feel like drinking blood and being bored by a snake is two completely different. It's like two different leaps there.
Yeah.
Well, I gotta admit, those like first 3 movies are like, all right, fine, they're family friendly, whatever. And then it's like kill people.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. I grew up with those movies, so like when I got interested in things, those movies got darker. Yeah, it was
Mhm.
great.
Yeah, I
I
don't
got
know.
the Watchmen.
I never really was like a super fan of Harry Potter, so I don't know. I've seen most. I think I've seen all the movies. I've never read the books.
I just saw the newest movie, and let me tell you, don't bother.
I haven't seen either of the 2 newest movies.
Lordy,
I actually
no.
liked the first one. I think Fantastic Beasts is an interesting concept and a
Uh.
pretty cool look at like a world outside of the Harry Potter world itself. And then the second movie comes along and forgets about the first one
Yeah.
almost entirely. It's
My-
insane. Like I've
My
never seen so many
mother-in-law is like
contradictions.
my mother-in-law and brother-in-law are huge fans. The 2 of them and my wife went to go see the stage play on Broadway, and they said it was amazing.
Yeah, I would love to see
thing is
that.
hard to get tickets to.
My wife got them like a year in advance, and they got them on the same day. So it was 2.5 hours, like an hour and a half break, and then another 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds
I've read
lovely.
I read the screenplay and it seems like it would look better on stage for sure. There's like a lot
Yeah,
of
they
visual
said it was
cues and everything.
amazing. Which my mother-in-law does not like big crowds, and she like toughed it out because she really wanted to see this.
That's rad. That's good to hear.
Yeah, because my brother-in-law is like a little bit older than you, so he was like perfect age for all of it. So she
Mhm.
and she's a teacher, so like she was like all with Harry Potter.
Oh,
so-
just like
Yeah,
it worked
she
out
was there for
perfectly.
all of it.
Cool.
yeah. I think she reread all of the books before going to go see the show,
Okay, that's a lot.
or something like that. Maybe she watched all the movies.
That's what I did right after when Deathly Hallows Part 2 came out. The night I saw it, I started rereading from book 1 and read the whole book that summer.
Solid. That's a good idea.
All right. I do kind of want to talk. Well, this War of the Realms thing is awesome. So they're doing is it just one song or is it a whole?
I don't think it doesn't state if it's an album.
Yeah, I think it's just a theme for it.
Yeah, they say soundtrack theme. They don't say themes.
So Marvel released a song that's supposed to be like the theme of War of Realms, which is like the big Avengers crossover event that's happening with Jason Aaron and Russell Dodderman. And the song is written by Jimmy Urine of Mindless Self-Indulgence.
Yeah, see, that's what got my
What?
attention.
But
Is
it's
that
funny
is-
because if you listen to the song, it sounds nothing like Mindless Self-Indulgence or
At
Jimmy
all.
Urine.
It's
It
like a
sounds-
Technicolor Daydream.
It sounds like a song that would be in Lord of the Rings. Like,
Yeah, like not something I expect Jimmy Urine to have written.
He's going for that Trent Reznor vibe. I'm okay with it. I like the tribal drums and like the weird techno mix with it. Pretty
Yeah.
cool.
I'm just glad it's not Blind Guardian. Which, okay, I guess none of you guys listen to weird heavy metal that does like.
Dude,
It's
man,
like
I listened to
rock.
weird heavy metal, but I think
Oh.
you went down a different path than I did.
Oh, I will
I
have
went
to
like
share a
black
song.
and death metal and everything.
They did the song, the title song for the Dungeon Siege movie.
Oh,
Wow.
God, that
Oh,
Yeah.
boy.
Yeah.
Say what you want about Uwe Boll. That dude knows how to box.
Yeah, I guess.
Well, I mean, he did just beat up some journalists, but
Yeah,
whatever.
but that's it's a journal.
Yeah, pretty much. You know, he hires all of his people out here in Vancouver. And it's most of his stuff is filmed out here.
Oh,
I thought most of his stuff was filmed in like Bulgaria or something.
I know he was doing casting stuff here recently. Like he was in Vancouver for a long time.
Yeah. I'm trying to see. Oh, the last story is this Batman thing. I
Oh.
could spend a whole year talking
I'm
about this.
so glad I didn't miss this because this
I
was a
love
great
that-
way to wake up this morning.
Yeah, I actually love that like a bunch of comic book creators from like both sides kind of were like posting.
Here's my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't know
I-
who half of them are, but I like seeing the discourse and like the,
I like Gail
the
Simone.
discussion.
Yeah, I'm in the like, I guess all the movie adaptations have killed people, but like, I prefer Batman that doesn't kill. But like,
well, but like the thing about it is, it's like the childish length that like Zack Snyder has gone to explain like his characters, that like Batman was totally raped, while being getting raped for Batman, or like my Justice League film would have been Apocalypse killing Lois Lane, and then that would have sent Superman to being the Superman you saw in Superman v Batman. I'm like, this sounds like absolute hot fucking garbage.
Are we talking about this Justice League plan, the original plan for this?
Yeah.
I mean, like, I'm talking about it as like a big, huge thing.
Well, the thing is, he didn't leave like halfway through. He left when it was like mostly done, didn't he?
I don't know, man. But
where's all that footage?
I know. Joss Whedon did like a lot of pickups.
Yeah, but then this is what he wanted, then like, why didn't you film that?
But here's
apparently
the thing.
The studio said like his version, like they didn't even shoot his script because like he presented the script they wrote with Chris Terrio, and then they were like, the studio's like, no, don't make this.
Yeah, don't make Injustice, please.
Did you hear like the last part of it? I just saw in one of the chats that one of his ideas was to make Martha Kent Martha Wayne, and that she did not die, and that she was put into witness protection in Kansas.
Oh my god!
Are you kidding me?
No.
Oh, sweet heavenly Jesus.
Yeah, Kat. I'm like also.
Well, yeah, my cat has a lot to say. I'm sorry.
But no, like honestly, like Zack Snyder is just like the dirt worst. He has the worst opinions about comics, about superheroes in general. Like, I don't know why we're still talking about him. I don't know why a bunch of like frat bros online are like just like clamoring for this film that never would have existed.
It's not even just like frat. It's just like there's so many people that are like, oh, it's like different energy. Like in Batman, like shoot kills. Like we had this discussion in the '90s when John Paul Valley put on a bat suit after Batman got his back broken, and guess what? It was literally DC being like, oh, you want a Batman who just like doesn't give a shit and just kills people? Here it is.
Also,
I mean, they had that. It was Batman Returns. Batman literally pushed a guy into a sewer hole with a bomb that blew up and killed a man, and he burned a man with a Batmobile.
But, like, also, here's the other thing. He's like, well, you see all that stuff that Batman does. Like, of course he's killed people for. I'm like, you know why he hasn't? Because it's not fucking real. Like, it's a film. Yeah. It's fantasy. Like, not like everything has to be, like, explicitly, like, told, like, that, like, oh, like, you know, like, of course, like, Batman's super fucked up. I'm like, yeah, I know he is. But, like, you also, like, don't have to, like, tell me, like, all this other bullshit. It's the same. The people who are clamoring about Zack Snyder's takes on superhero characters are the same exact reason people are making fun of J.K. Rowling.
Mm.
Like, I don't get it. And like the second I stop hearing Zack Snyder talk about superhero comics and go on to make his shitty Fountainhead movie, I'm like going to be so glad.
Yeah, just go do your meathead stuff, dude.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. He is just a guy that just continues to like not get it, and somehow has this following of, it's like not even, it's like just defenders of like, oh, everything, do you want everything to be like the candy coated Marvel? I feel like it's like anti-Marvel people are somehow like pushing
keep
that
in mind,
Snyder thing.
I think it was David Ayer who said fuck Marvel, and there was thunderous applause.
Yeah,
well,
and that guy made Suicide Squad. Like,
that movie's garbage.
No, he didn't make Suicide Squad. He made Squad.
Like, you know, like maybe maybe also, like, instead of like trying to get into this pissing contest of like prove that you're so much better than Marvel, why don't you make a movie that like is good and makes a lot of money for the studio you work for?
I mean, that was
the two movies that
Aquaman and Wonder Woman.
Yeah, you know,
and Shazam looks like it's going to do good too.
Yeah, you know who doesn't have to go out and tell their audience that they're automatically better? Like Patty Jenkins, because she, like, Wonder Woman's great, and she doesn't need to tell people it's great because they automatically know it's great.
Mm-hmm.
Or James Wan for Aquaman, or like, you know,
maybe Sandberg for Sam, or whoever's doing the others.
It's just like,
or one of the
James Gunn, who will inevitably do an okay job, at least.
And whoever directs that Flash movie that will never happen.
It's going to be what's his face, whoever the Flash is. Ezra Miller is going to write and direct it and star in it.
I don't know if Ezra Miller is going to survive hanging out.
I was going to say he's going to drive himself up the fucking wall, being the Flash.
Like that James Gunn like not Superman horror movie.
Oh, that looks so fucking rad.
That looks so cool.
Well, it's
Looks-
so good.
Looks infinitely more interesting than anything that like Zack Snyder tried to do in Man of Steel.
Well, it's
Anything
a
he's
great
done
idea.
ever.
It's a great.
I mean,
fit
I
in
like
the
Man of
genre.
Steel. That's just me personally, but
That's fair. You're entitled to your opinion.
It's Man of Steel's a fine movie. I think it's a terrible Superman movie,
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
and it has the worst Jonathan Kent in any form.
oh,
No,
don't
do
get
not
me started.
save me.
Don't get me started
I
on
would
that.
like to talk to the wind.
Oh god, he was a better character in Draft Day.
I just read something that the guy who's producing Suicide Squad. I'm trying to find the article now. They said like the whole DC versus Marvel thing is like complete bullshit. It's like good superhero movies. I'm like, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, because the average person doesn't give a shit. Like the average moviegoer just wants to see a good movie.
I want good comic movies. That's all I want.
Right. I'm more of a DC reader, and I haven't enjoyed any of them. I will watch Aquaman soon. Like, I enjoyed Wonder Woman, but the rest of them,
Wait, have you not seen it yet?
Yeah, that should actually say
Wonder
something.
Woman. I haven't seen
of the
Aquaman.
DC.
Oh, Aquaman's good.
Yeah, Aquaman. I mean, Tamara Morrison doesn't the CG job they didn't look that well.
None of the CG in any of the DC stuff looks good. It always looks fake and kind of made of rubber.
I would argue Aquaman because that movie visually was stunning.
Again,
Well, I
I
have to
haven't
say-
seen Aquaman. I'm on the same side as Lou here. But
the picture Alan shared of the Krypton version of Doomsday is hilariously better.
ooh, yeah, like unfair better.
Oh god,
Like they
that-
bought the character. It's insane how hard it must be being Zack Snyder reading
John
the comic.
Cryer is a better Lex Luthor than Jesse Eisenberg. Just saying
well,
right now.
But
I actually like
Rosenbaum is the best. Come on.
Yeah.
Rosenbaum is the best, but
No,
I
Rosenbaum
actually
is,
like
but John Cryer is
the new one.
damn good Lex Luthor.
Yeah. But Jesse Eisenberg was never supposed to be Lex Luthor. They basically straight up said that. They could not get Cranston. Like, it was supposed to be Cranston.
Really?
Yeah,
Ooh,
so-
that would have been so much better.
From what I've
I
read,
don't know.
the Cranston stuff
Hey, man.
fell through
Hey, man.
because he couldn't shoot it. And Eisenberg was supposed to be that guy that dies, like, in the beginning.
Jimmy Olsen.
Jimmy Olsen.
Because Bryan Cranston was too busy being in a bear movie called Power Rangers.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think it was Power Rangers that he like couldn't get out of.
Honestly-
I love Power Rangers.
Yeah, no, like that last Power Rangers movie is like not bad.
No, it's fun. Like it's unlike the DC stuff that came out at the same time. It was fun.
Well, that's a word. That's something that they seem to have changed since Justice League failed. Is they're like, all right, screw it, just do a movie and make it fun.
I think
Yeah, why don't we
Shazam is
just
the
make-
last of that original slate.
Yeah. Maybe Wonder Woman 2 before like everything got kind of like
Shuffled around.
yeah.
Okay.
Which is funny because the mall that they like have all the pictures is right by me, and I randomly pass because it's closed except for a Sears. It's actually getting turned into a homeless shelter.
Oh, nice.
Yes, but I like drive past it all the time, and I'm just like, oh, this is gonna be really weird to see in this movie. But I'm like, yeah, this mall does look like it's from the '80s because it's a piece of shit.
Lou, I just hope I see you while we movie. You just happen to walk by a camera, you just wave to it, and then walk green.
Oh, I like there was like tons of sign up stuff, but they were looking for like very specific people for like 1980s.
Oh,
So
okay.
I was like, yeah, they did like a bunch of casting stuff. So like a bunch of people in the area where I live did it, like have like posted that they did like a thing, but who knows? I don't know how long that mall scene is gonna be.
Yeah, they shot Joker up in Newark. I'm not near there, but they did shoot it up. I heard in Newark, which I'm in Jersey, so.
Oh, nice.
So
That is a movie I forget that keeps existing.
remember, like the last couple of weeks, they've been doing those little ads in the Marvel books. Whereas, like the first week it was like 2019 or July 2019, and then like next week, like last week, the ad said Hickman. So it was like, oh, like what's Hickman doing in July of 2019? And then they revealed to be, House of X and Pyrovex. They have a new ad for this week, and it's just a quotation of, "Well, here's the thing, Charles. It's not a dream if it's real."
Huh.
So I guess it is gonna be like House of M, but with Xavier.
Like, what if Xavier's dream was real?
Yeah, which is basically like what House of M was, except Magneto. So like humanity and mutants will live in harmony.
I wonder what weird things will come out of this. Which
Yeah.
one of our heroes will turn out to be racist?
Oh, somebody will be like a child aged up in the future and brought back to the present.
And it'll be the fourth Summers brother.
Okay, it'll be a summer sister.
The Summer Sister!
I'm surprised they haven't done that.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I feel like I'm going to get
It's-
a whole
it's-
wacky comedy comic that's going to be the Summers family, and it's just those wacky misadventures of the entire Summers sibling.
Oh man.
3 of the 4 of them are brooding.
In the corner.
Yeah.
And the Summer Sister is like an Archie character.
Okay.
I was just gonna say being productive, but yeah, that too.
Archie character.
Oh yeah, John. Was there something specific you were talking about?
There was just two short stories I wanted to talk about. One is that Teenie Howard signed an exclusive with Marvel. It was like really cool. She's currently writing Age of Conan and Bleed. She also recently wrote Captain America Annual #1. And yeah, she's going to be doing a new Death's Head miniseries for Marvel with artists by Kei Zama. And Death's Head's like an old Transformers character that existed in the Marvel Transformers comic, but then when they lost the license, they brought Death's Head over into the Marvel U.
Sweet.
But yeah, like she's cool. Like she's also writing Euthonauts for IDW. So I think she's like a really good get for Marvel. It'd be really cool to see like what what big things they have planned for her. I know that there's like rumors that Young Avengers are coming back at some point this year, and I think Teenie Howard would be like a really cool get for a third Young Avengers run. The other story that was announced was at C2E2. Mark Waid and Javier Rodriguez and Alvaro Lopez are illustrating a History of Marvel Universe series that's basically going to be a super ultra condensed version of like everything that has like happened in the Marvel U.
That's kind of
that
awesome.
sounds great, actually. That
Yeah.
actually, for someone who doesn't know the entire genuine like overarching like history of the Marvel Universe, is perfect. I think.
Yeah, it's a great jumping off point.
And like Javier Rodriguez, I think is like one of the most like underrated artists going around right now. He did like a good chunk of the Dennis Hopeless Spider-Woman book that I think is also just super underrated. He also just got done doing the Exiles miniseries with I forget the guy's name, but like Saladin Ahmad. He's also doing like Miles Morales Spider-Man currently. But yeah, like they got this really sick team, and I kind of feel like, you know, the Hip Hop Family Tree guy is currently doing the X-Men Grand Design book, which is also like a super condensed version of X-Men comics, like in a really cool collection. And that must have done well enough, or at least inspired enough people at Marvel enough to where like, hey, like people seem to really like X-Men Grand Design. Like, why don't we do this, but for like the whole Marvel U? And like this is a book that they could just like sell for like, you know, for as long as they want.
Yeah, that's like a book that'll be like on display at like a Barnes and Noble, like a huge ass book.
Mm-hmm. So
like, like I don't know what's going on. Like, I can get like, it's like a good birthday or Christmas present. Cause it's probably gonna be like $100 or something like that.
Oh no, if it's like only like 5-issue like mini, like it'll be like $20 trade.
Okay, I don't know, because maybe I've seen like there's a couple of DC ones, but I think there's like a Batman one that they did.
Yeah,
it's like gigantic.
Yeah, but I mean, like those are like by year.
Okay.
And it's like reading Wikipedia at that point. Like this one, from what it sounds like, it's like an actual, like I don't know, it's like the Watcher basically like hello children, sit around the campfire, and I'll spin you a tale of the complete history of the Marvel Universe.
Okay. That's okay. That sounds much more reasonable. Well, definitely that's something I'm gonna keep an eye out for. Was there any books anybody really wanted to talk about that they have been reading? Or should we jump into our big discussion topic as we enter hour 2?
I just want, like, the one book I want to talk about is Meet the Scrolls, because I feel like that's like the book like no one else has read and no one else is reading.
Yeah, I actually do want to hear about it because it sounded interesting when you talked about issue 1.
So like issue 1 of Meet the Scrolls by Robbie Thompson and Nika Heron basically like sets up like this family of Skrulls that are sleeper agents, you know, doing the things that Skrulls do. And all of them are originally from like the Skrull homeworld, except for our main character who was born on Earth, like has like really kind of no like the rest of the family, like, you know, are like part of like the old Skrull guard, and it's like, you know, they're all about infiltrating and getting what they need, and she's just like kind of, you know, doesn't really kind of like know where her place is and just kind of wants to be, you know, a normal person on Earth. So like all you kind of like know is that there's conflict within the family because of that, but then there's also someone who knows about the Skrull sleeper agents and is killing like these different Skrull families. So the second issue, there's like a little bit kind of like more with that. You get some like stuff with the father, you know, and and like there's like a really cool like opening page with like him and his mother, and they're escaping the old Skrull throne world while a Galactus is attacking, and it's like really cool. But it's just I think it's like a lot of fun. It's like another mini series, so it's not going to be like a huge long series. And like it gets a little confusing because they're shapeshifters, so it's kind of hard sometimes to kind of figure out who you're reading at that point. But the series is still like really fun. I feel like it's in the same vein of Tom King's Vision, superheroes living in suburbia. But I think the art's great. The characters are pretty fun so far. And I think it's like going to be like again like one of those series that's just like super under the radar because Marvel's releasing like 120 books every month, and books like this are just like the ones that will get lost in the shuffle.
All right, that's awesome. I know I picked up on your guys' recommendation last week, and I read Assassination, and that shit was...
Oh yeah, tell me about my boy Fuck Tarkington.
Fuck Tarkington.
I like Fuck Tarkington. I like, what's the dude that's just like a dude? Is just like
his name's like Ted.
Yeah, it's just like he reminded me of it's the
Pete.
character. It's the character from Deadpool.
Oh yeah.
Like he's just like a guy there, and they're just like fucking poser. He's just like, can I get your autograph? But I also love the way it ended when she's like the one character's like, I have a thing.
Oh yeah,
blah,
Rose.
blah, blah. Yeah,
it's like don't worry, I have a
sanctioned.
Sanctioned.
But I would definitely recommend it to anybody. It was really fun, and it's part of the reason why I like doing this show, because like opening me up to like stuff outside of the big two, because that's an Image book. So
yeah, that's my favorite part too. Except I get to learn comics from the ground up. It's really cool.
Because I didn't have any I necessarily want to talk about, except for one. I wanted to tell Connor your new favorite character is actually in this week's issue of Batgirl.
No shit, really?
Yeah.
All right, I guess I'm gonna add that to the by
Batgirl,
Boy,
her baby brother. Yep. So James Gordon Jr. is.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Lagoon Boy. Regardless, I also really like James Gordon.
No one talks about Lagoon Boy. Lagoon Boy is trash.
Oh, no, he's not. Why do I have to keep saying it?
He's like shitty Abe Sapien. Like, or actually, probably. I bet Lagoon Boy came out first. Abe Sapien is just a better version of.
Oh, probably.
But yeah, like for me, there was nothing particular. I read the what's that DC label that they're doing?
Does it tie into the Batman Who Laughs at all?
No, I don't. Okay. I'm sure that there'll be some connection to it, but I did read High Level issue 2, which is like one of the new books DC's doing under the Vertigo title, and I would just say it's like techno Game of Thronesy.
Okay, I like that.
Like there's like some more going on, and it's like a post-apocalyptic Earth kind of thing. So if you like that, it's like. I'm trying to think. It's not like steampunk. What's like the higher technology version of that, where it's like
diesel punk? I think.
No, it's not diesel punk. It's more like there are just drones everywhere, but they're all like current day drones, and they're shitty. Like it's like if current technology right now.
Cyberpunk?
Yeah, it's kind of cyberpunky, but like in a dystopian future. So I guess it's very cyberpunk.
Yeah, cyberpunk is the dystopian future.
Yeah, because they're like, oh, you want to check out this thing? It's really cool. And it looks like a flock of birds, like doing us. She's like, oh, is that birds? And she's like, no, it's old drones. They like go to charge up and like form these patterns to charge up for solar energy. So like we use them to try to figure out like which way the weather is going to come.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And like the kid is like, oh, it's like, yeah, the world sucks. Deal with it. But I don't know, I thought that was pretty rad. I'm not looking forward to spending a shit ton of money this week because it's Detective 1000 week.
How many are you buying?
My guy said that he's going to hold whatever I don't pick up this week for me to like, so I can pay it off. I'm going to try to pick up 2 of them because I think they're $10 a pop.
Yeah, I'm buying 8.
I think I pre-ordered
too much.
I think I pre-ordered 4 or 5 of them. My favorite cover is, so there's a cover for every decade of Batman.
Yeah, they're all really good.
Yeah, my favorite one is the 50s cover.
Yeah, I'm going to try and grab that copy as well.
Yeah, I think that's the Dustin Win.
Yeah,
it's been my phone background.
I bought, I'm tomorrow or when this comes
out.
Oh,
that's a nice cover.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting the basically everyone except the blank
and the Frank Miller because he's an asshole, and the other 2. Are you not getting the regular one?
No, I'm mainly getting the Decades one. I did a similar thing with Action 1000.
Yeah, because like I love like the ones oh my god, I almost said Zack Snyder, but it's Capullo's cover looks awesome. They all look awesome. They're just like I actually love the different interpretations. I love the Bruce Timm one. That's also one of my ones I really enjoy. and he's doing the 40s cover. But yeah, that's gonna suck. But it'll be interesting. I wasn't a big fan of the actual issue of Action 1000, so hopefully Detective 1000 is better.
Well, that Joker one.
The Joker one is the Bruce Timm one. So
that looks like Bruce Timm. I was gonna say that looks like the Bruce Timm Joker.
Yeah, so he's doing the 40s. Let me look, because they have like the list. So he's doing the 40s, and then the writer doing. So each cover artist is also doing the art for a story, and they're teamed with a writer. So Scott Snyder and Capullo are doing one. Bruce Timm and Kevin Smith are teamed up. I'm trying to remember the other ones.
God, if there was a Becky Cloonan cover, I would have bought it.
I think maybe Bruce Timm and Paul Dini are teamed up, and Kevin Smith's teamed up with somebody else. Oh, Kevin Smith's teamed up with Jim Lee.
Wait, Kevin Smith doing a cover?
No, he wrote a story, and Jim Lee did the art.
Oh shit!
And then the Bruce Timm one, Bruce Timm did the art, and Paul Dini did the story.
Oh shit! Oh, I might have to go pick this up then.
Yeah, so like it's the same thing they did with Action, where it's like an anthology book. So there is a story. So there's what. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, so there's 9 stories, 9 different artists, 9 different writers.
Okay.
I think 9. It's like 9 or 10 different stories in art. So yeah, it's the same thing they did with Action. I think it's a little because of who has drawn and written for Batman. They kind of got a little bit heftier names from both ends of writing and art. So I don't know. I'm excited for it because there's to read a Paul Dini story drawn by Bruce Timm is just sells itself.
Oh, absolutely. And then that Kevin Smith story kind of sold me too because I like his comic book.
Yeah,
I read some of Batman Coffee. So
yeah. So Tom King wrote. So it's the writers are Jeff Johns, Snyder, Brian Michael Bendis, Warren Ellis, Peter J. Tomasi, Christopher Priest, Denny O'Neil, Paul Dini, Kevin Smith, and Tom King.
That's a great lineup.
Yeah. And the artist is just as good. It's Dustin Nguyen, Alex Maleev, Jim Lee, Andy Kubert, Kelly Jones, Steve Epting, Tony Estaniel, Greg Capullo, Neil Adams, Doug Mahanke. So, Monkey. And they're teamed with each other.
And Becky Cloonan.
Okay, what I just clicked, it didn't include.
Warren Ellis and Becky Cloonan is legit the only reason why I'm buying that book. Because Becky Cloonan is a great Batman artist, and Warren Ellis is just great.
Which cover is that?
Becky Cloonan does not have a cover, which
okay. So I guess did a blank?
Yeah.
Because I don't know who did... Because King's book, the writing is his cover is the regular one, because he's writing detective, I believe. So, yeah, that's going to suck. And then we have the only other actual comic thing. We have our final for DC, I can't believe I just blanked on the name of the part. But the Dial H for Hero is the last new book for the teens thing that DC's doing.
Wonder Comics.
Wonder Comics, yeah. So it's the last new one, which is interesting. I always liked the Dial H thing. The last time I did it, it was not for kids. It was really fucking weird.
It was the China Mayville book.
Yeah, so I don't know. That's interesting. So did anybody else have any books they really wanted to talk about?
Yeah, go read Jojo Part 7. I'll keep saying it until I'm done. It's insane. A dude turns into a dinosaur and controls dinosaurs that he makes out of people. The bones of Christ. I don't know what else I have to say to get people interested. Everything is based after musical references. A man named Funny Valentine has a superpower, a weird spirit power thing that's called Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap.
Ooh, AC/DC.
Just go read it.
I've got nothing.
The dinosaur's name is Scary Monsters.
Scary Monsters.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, no, it's so good. Everybody should go read JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Steel Ball Run, in particular.
Ooh. Al, did you have any book that you wanted to talk about, or are we good to jump into our topic?
Everything's... well, I reread Life is Strange, the first 4 issues, because I've been playing Life is Strange 2.
Hell yeah.
And yeah, there's really not much to say except there's a lot of time travel or time reality stuff.
Yeah, for me too, this was it's more of a pickup week than it was what I read last week. So I think they kind of do that and stuff, especially when there's a big event kind of thing like DC 1000. I think people know that people are going to cut back on other books for a week or two to afford those many covers. But for this week, our big discussion topic was our favorite crossover event.
I think I meant just in general. Crossover event is...
Oh, okay. However anybody interpreted it, our favorite crossover, I guess is basically would say it's kind of a thing where characters who normally have their own book kind of team up, or at least are in one story together.
Mm-hmm.
Is that how you would? So like, not
definitely.
Yeah, so not like saying like a Justice League or an Avengers book, but like a story that's kind of like a bigger story than that, almost. Does anybody want to start per se, or
I'll start if you don't mind. I do have my book.
Mine, please.
Mine is going to be Kingdom Come. I'm sure, Connor, I'm not sure if you've read that, but I don't know. There's something about Kingdom Come, just the way that story is presented, how it's through the eyes of one ordinary man, and it's also presented. I have a picture I'm going to show, which is, I think, one of my favorite panels.
Oh, I love that book.
Oh my god. And the art style. Good God, the art by Alex Ross makes for me.
Man. Well, he's a goddamn, like, I don't even know how to describe
I'm doing it right now. I think this should be processing, but oh my god.
Yeah. His Shazam is like, I love it.
No, the way they present Shazam in the story made me follow Shazam in the book.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's what, like, a lot of, like, I feel like they carried a lot of the mythos, which I love the idea that, like, oh, when Billy Batson grows up, he kind of just becomes what Shazam looks like.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think just the idea of, like, I think it's just how it's not really a big story. It's a more, like, subdued story with bigger element to it. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, I don't know the stories. If somebody could fill me in, that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, Jeff, can you give like a little synopsis?
Yeah, I'm actually, because it's been a while for me too, but I'm going to look up plot stuff.
If I can remember, and then when you're looking it up. So basically, it takes place in like a 20 or 30 years. So like Superman, like I would say.
Yeah, I got it right here.
Okay.
All right, so yeah, it takes place. It's almost like it's
basically
an world story, but it's also not.
It's what if the 90s idea, like where comics were going in the 90s, if that continued.
Yeah, so pretty much the traditional superheroes were...
So what does that mean? Sorry to like break it down a little bit more. Where were comics in the 90s? Because I have some... Yeah, because like the comics I've read from the 90s are like the Venom run where he went to San Francisco and like protected the people underground.
Yeah, so the run in the 90s, and others can fill in, I'm just remembering best I can, is very sort of like gritty and punk rock, grunge, almost, if you will. Again, like they mentioned, Rob Liefeld, who was a big, in-your-face kind of guy when it came to his writing.
Yeah, everything was dark and extreme and bloodier.
There are two big moments in Kingdom Come. One and they're both.
No! Don't tell him like any of the parts that are like really big about it.
Yeah, no, because like if it's a book like this and people tell me to read it this much, I'll go read it.
I mean, Kingdom Come is basically about generations. It's about it's not even just like the '90s comics of like where they were going. It's a generational thing that happens like every single generation, where it's like the older generation feels like the younger generation are like not like whatever. They're not adhering to the values of classic storytelling or
right. It's the whole plot of stories.
But then the older superheroes are super out of touch. And there's like this huge divide between like old Superman and Batman and a couple other characters, and it's good. Like I mean, it's the Alex Ross book.
The character designs are just on their own are amazing.
Again, look at what that Shazam for. Oh God, the character design's so good.
I mean, like,
I love his Green Lantern.
Yeah.
Fun fact: the main or the person you're viewing the world from is or was someone very close to Alex Ross.
Okay.
Oh.
Like,
Norman McKay is the guy's name. He's
yeah.
And I mean, like, and Alex Ross is like a guy who, like, he's very good on this book, and I feel like he's kind of coasted on this style for like a very long time after this book came out. But like, I think it wasn't until like the new Hulk book where you saw his covers for the new Hulk book, and you're just like, I didn't know this guy had it in him.
Wait, he did the covers for the Hulk book? What?
Yeah, they're gorgeous.
Yeah, because he's like doing stuff that's other than just poses. And it's good. It's like he's drawing skeletons, he's drawing body horror, he's doing like really cool stuff. And I was just like,
holy shit.
Yeah, right?
That is gorgeous. Oh, Lou, I just saw what you posted, and just beautiful. That design.
I love his Superman design, but I love that Green Lantern design with like the armor.
Yeah, like cool sword.
Yeah, so basically, like everyone is much older. And yeah, like one of the main...
Way more dated.
Yeah, everyone's older and dated, and their powers are like all kind of at maximum. But yeah, they're super out of touch. And I believe is it Magog that's like the leader of like the...
Yeah, he's sort of the...
I think so. I know that Batman trying to make sure... Yeah, Magog is the leader.
Oh, that's the Flash. I didn't know who that person.
Yeah, that's
back.
the Flash.
That's
Yes.
cool.
They don't tell you which Flash it is, and it's actually a good thing because there's elements of every single one.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah, it's
And
like
Hawkman's a literal Hawkman now.
yeah. I'll just pop in
Thank
some
you.
more pictures.
Yeah, get the collected edition if you can, because there's some extra at the end of it that it's tied
Oh, yeah.
everything so well.
The sketches of Alex Ross, just to talk about, his art style is so different because he hires models and then paints them.
Mm-hmm.
Or he'll just take pictures of himself in the costumes.
Yeah.
He's a tracer.
Yeah, I think the style is, what's it called? It's gouache, which is basically body color.
Cool. I really like the coloring in this. It's very vibrant. You never know where the lines meet.
Yeah, I do say, and maybe this is just for me, but I do think it's one of those stories you should read in your time, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a very influential story in the universe.
I remember it being the first big event comic. The reason why I love it is the first big miniseries comic, because I'm not that well versed in comics. I'm gonna be 100% honest. I'm not.
Yeah, welcome.
So this was the first big one I read. God bless my library for having so many of these, and I remember just being blown away by everything I read in this book.
And one of the great things about the book is that there are panels or a giant 2-page spread of all those legacy characters and trying to figure out who's who.
Yeah, that's actually the picture, one of the pictures I was just about to post.
There it is. That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, so if you look in there, there's so many characters in there. I see Big Barda's in there,
and they're
dope, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the children of certain characters are there.
Man,
Yeah,
Jesse Quick used to have a really cool costume.
Oh yeah, she was very similar to Superboy, and the Connor Kent, right? With the jacket and stuff. I don't know. She looks awesome.
The Metropolis Kid.
Yeah. Her story, if I remember that book correctly, is actually fucking awesome. I don't know how else to describe it. Her talking about being the daughter of the Flash and what that means. It's pretty awesome.
Cool.
Yeah. So it's definitely if you're getting into comics, I think Kingdom Come is a quintessential must read.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. $20.
Oh yeah, it's super easy to get these days.
Well, you don't realize I'm in Canada.
Okay, fair.
I
I
think
live in a podunk outskirts of a major city. We don't really get much.
I think you
unless I
can
order
get the
in.
digital and it'll still look great. Especially
I have a nice phone, so I'll be able to see the pictures real nice.
Yeah.
No, it deserves to be read on of the biggest high def.
Oh, I can't. I've tried reading comics on a screen, and it really messes with my eyes.
Get better eyes.
Ooh, that's a good point. I didn't even.
Yeah, but
I'll
I would
talk
say
to my doctor about that
if
one.
you like the art, just Google Alex Ross. I have bought Alex Ross books of just his art for people as gifts because
some dope steelbook covers for the Universal Monster movies a few years back.
Oh, really? That's
Yes.
cool.
Yeah, because
Let me
he's
see if I can
done.
find them really quickly.
Yeah, he's done stuff for every major company. We were saying before, he did covers for Dynamite's pulp characters that were awesome. Oh, here I actually found one. He did the Phantom, the dumb purple suit.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, Alex Ross has drawn basically any book that was published by Dynamite at some point. He drew a variant for it.
All right, so
Gets around.
There's a bunch that he did for the Shadow. There's a bunch that he did for Black Bat. A bunch of other really.
Yeah, I'm looking. I think he did.
heroes.
I think he did He-Man stuff at one point. Oh, he did Batman and the Green Hornet 66 meetup covers that Dynamite was doing.
all right, here's I'm posting this right now. I'm posting the cover for the Wolfman steelbook he did.
Cool. Okay.
Someone's hitting their keyboards. Super.
Oh, that's John.
That's me. Sorry.
It is. I can clean it up and post. It is not that big.
Okay.
Connor, something you should know about Kingdom Come when you
Okay.
read it. There's a sequel to it, a really
Okay.
good sequel called
Oh,
Thy
okay.
Kingdom Come. That was
Okay,
in-
I didn't know how that sentence was gonna. If it was gonna sequel, stay away. Kind of like what you did with Year One.
Did
Well-
Kingdom
Or anything Frank Miller did after Dark Knight Returns.
Is Thy
Yeah, we
Kingdom,
actually talked about that last week.
Yes.
wasn't Thy Kingdom Come that JSA story?
Yeah, that Jeff Johns and Alex Ross both worked on. We're both.
I don't know, man. I remember that book not being super hot when I was reading it.
It's
But then again, I was like kind of lukewarm on like a lot of that JSA stuff around that time.
Yeah, Alan's like a huge JSA guy, so.
Well, I'm also just not a huge Jeff Johns guy.
Oh yeah, you're very not a Jeff Johns guy. I like Jeff Johns most of the time. For the vast majority of stuff, I'm a fan of his. All right, so who wanted to go next?
Oh, can I talk about my favorite event crossover
Yes.
of all time?
Take it
Flashpoint.
away. I'm actually looking at Flashpoint right now.
Flashpoint is stupendous.
Oh, so good.
Because I have read, I think, at least one issue, at the very least, of every single tie-in.
Oh, the tie-ins are amazing. Flashpoint.
I've read the Times, I've read the main story.
I would say the only tie-in I can remember being like meh was I think it was whatever one had Grifter in it was like the weakest one. But I think that was also the Superman one with Lois. So I don't remember.
Yeah, where Lois Lane is she goes to I think to Britain, and
Yeah,
she takes Jimmy's place.
Okay.
Yeah, the Flashpoint tie-ins are real interesting, and because like it builds out that world. Like the Batman one alone is like you should read as a tie-in book.
Yes, a good reunion of Brian Azzarello and Eduardo Riso.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what other tie-ins there were because there was Batman, there was the Superman one. Flash didn't have. Was there a Green Lantern?
There was Citizen Cold.
Oh yes, there was this.
Where Leo Snart was dating Iris West.
What?
Yeah,
That's crazy.
and like the leader, like there's instead of Hal being Green Lantern, he's still like a pilot. So the Green Lantern that's like helping is Abin Sur.
Oh yes, that's right because they saved his life when he crashed onto the planet.
Yeah, and Cyborg. This was Cyborg's sort of push to like the big tier,
Okay.
and there's a bunch of C to B level like characters, and like, can I spoil the like because like the Batman one?
I would say if people haven't heard it, I would say no because it's such a good turn.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I haven't. So
Well,
It is an amazing turn.
Yeah,
they're trying.
If he doesn't know and is probably like willing to probably like read it at some point, it would probably be not as forthgiving.
The whole thing is Flash or Barry Allen goes back in time, and he does something that the whole butterfly effect.
okay.
Yeah.
So basically, the TV show right now.
Yeah, he's Barry Allen. Does
No, even worse.
What?
Yeah, because he can't just let things be the way they are. He's always got to be changing something.
Damn it, Barry.
But so like some of the things are like amazing. Like one of my favorite. I was just flipping through some of them. The Deathstroke book is hilarious because instead of
Deathstroke and the Ravager.
Yeah, instead of being a mercenary, he's a goddamn pirate.
Yeah,
He has like a battleship, and he's just like going around the ocean, just like sailing around. It does have one. I think we talked about it at one point. It has one. The magic book is terrible because of the. That was like one of my worst costumes. The Zatanna costume where she's like wearing nothing.
and
the Dead Man book was also awesome.
possibly the best character that never made it into the DCU, or that was pretty much exclusive to Flashpoint, the Flashpoint universe, was the Outsider.
He was an original character of before that. They just didn't carry him. They just never use him. But I do love him in Flash. He is awesome.
And like throughout his 3-issue miniseries, he's going up against Black Adam, Martian Manhunter, and it's James Robinson, Javi Fernandez, and the art is great, the writing is great. Unfortunately, there's an Adam Glass written one, which actually is not. It's not as bad as Teen Titans. It was sort of a test for Suicide Squad. And there's a Frankenstein there's a Frankenstein book.
Oh yeah, if you're a Doom Patrol person, the Frankenstein book is awesome.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Frankenstein Agent of Shade.
No, it's Frankenstein, and it was their version of that book, but I can't remember what the title of it was.
Yeah, I remember.
Was it Creature Commandos?
I think so.
Yeah, I remember not. I know I'm like a huge stick in the mud when it comes to Flashpoint. But I remember liking that Frankenstein book from like the little I read of it, and
Yeah, it's very Doom Patrol because it's Frankenstein. Yeah, the creatures of the unknown.
I
There's
do
him.
like that.
There's like a man bat kind of character. There's a fish woman and a dude that like can turn into a dog, and they're fighting Nazi zombies.
Yes, sweet God, yes.
Oh my god! The top
I'm
of this
so into
reminds me
that.
that this came out the same time as that Green Lantern movie.
Wow, is Flashpoint that old?
Oof,
Yeah, it
Yeah.
came out in 2011.
Wow.
that Green Lantern movie. Ooh.
Yeah, well, Flashpoint came out when Flashpoint ended. It was the New 52. Like, it's what led into the New 52.
Yeah, that's a good point. Shit, those things don't make. I don't have like the layout for that, so I'm still learning the way these things work.
Yeah,
I didn't know if New 52 was before, after, during.
Yeah, so yeah, it went. It was like they did like 4 big crossover events in a row. It was Darkest Night, Brightest Day, Flashpoint, and
Blackest Night.
Blackest Night, Brightest Day, Flashpoint, right into the start of New 52.
Okay,
So,
that's.
but there's
good.
some the one-off books are like awesome. Like the Dead Man book is awesome, and the cover is like really rad. So like it is definitely like they did a good job of building out the world, and you only had to sit with really one issue for your like normal books. And the main book was pretty quick. I think it was only like a couple issues, right? Like 3 issues.
Cool.
Five.
Oh, I love that Dead Man
5?
Flying Graysons thing. That's cool as hell.
oh, I liked Secret 7 also. I thought it wasn't great, but like I thought it had like some cool ideas at least.
Yeah, they did like a bunch of interesting stuff. And there was a bunch of interesting one-off things. Like Lois Lane was kind of like this secret agent, which was really interesting. And like how they dealt with Superman was pretty rad too. Like they did a bunch of cool things in this.
Don't forget Canterbury Cricket.
I think
Oh my
I think
God.
I think this might have been like one of the few series where I was like I just like could not get into the main series at all. But like I read like one or two of like the side stories. Like I think I felt that same way about Convergence, where I was like I tried like the first 2 issues. I was like, yeah, no thanks.
Yeah,
I'll try some of these side books. Like these look kind of cool.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Convergence, but Convergence basically turned into like nostalgia dump for people. I would say the best part of Flashpoint is the like last panel, like the last page of Flashpoint. Is when the
Oh, I
entire
know what
story-
you're talking about.
Yeah, which if you watch the animated movie, it does a very solid, like I would say like a very, very solid job of doing the story. The books just kind of fill out much more of that world if you wanted to see it. But yeah, just for that final page, like the whole thing was worth it because it is so well done. And then Doomsday Clock and the button happened.
I feel like when Doomsday Clock is all said and done, you guys should do a whole episode.
Yeah, for a second
Yeah.
there, that was actually going to be my favorite crossover because
I
it
was
might be
gonna say-
the longest crossover.
I was gonna say to do that would run me into read Doomsday Clock. Unless like I got like 10 free issues of Doomsday Clock, like I ain't.
Yeah, but it's also like 6 years from now, so I don't think we have to worry about it.
Yeah, that's fair. We don't have to care.
All right, who would like to go next?
I'll go next. So the way I interpreted it was kind of like favorite event in comics, but this one actually works out. I think mine would be like Secret Wars, I guess. The Marvel one. It's kind of what got me into comics, or at least like modern right now. I really like the idea of Battle World, and like reading all the side stories in there was just cool as hell.
Yeah, you know how I talked about how I was not a fan of like Flashpoint at all.
Yeah.
I love Secret Wars.
Oh, thank God.
Secret Wars is like everything about like a weird new world that's kind of reminiscent of everything that I kind of liked about the previous world, but like done differently. And then like, you have all these side books that explore that world. Like I think Secret Wars is a far better execution of what it tried to do than what Flashpoint did.
Yeah. I thought all the concepts inside of there were really cool, like what they did with the Thing, where he becomes like a giant to everybody. Doctor Strange is like a cop.
Johnny Storm is the son.
Yeah, I was just gonna say Johnny Storm is the son.
Thors are all police cop or all cops.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's so cool. What else am I thinking? What else was cool there? God Doom, really cool when he faces Thanos, and Thanos is like, "I'm gonna kill you,"
and then no.
Eat a dick, dude.
Yeah, God Emperor Doom is so good. Like they have like that short story where all the Ghost Riders are in a death race.
Yeah.
They have that Master of Kung Fu book that's basically Mortal Kombat.
There's Age of
I'm
Ultron
listening to
versus
all of
zombies.
this, and I am like, this is the coolest, dopest thing ever.
Dude,
Yeah,
it's
you're
what
kinda
got me
selling me on this,
reading.
picking this up.
This sounds great. I need to check this out as soon as I can.
They do the Runaways and they do Cloak and Dagger, but Cloak and Dagger have switched like their power sets. So
Yeah.
Dagger is Cloak and Cloak is now Dagger. And also young Bucky Barnes is a member of the Runaways.
Yeah.
Yeah, Thor's is great because that's also where you get Dazzler Thor. Like Witch Hunter Angela is cool. A-Force is great because that's like the all-female team with like She-Hulk and Medusa and a bunch of other like really cool characters on the team.
And that became a series right after during All New, All Different.
Yeah, and then you get like retellings of like classic stories like E for Extinction and Future Imperfect, and like there's a book where Howard the Duck is a human. It's called Howard the Human, and it's a one-shot done by Jim Mafu. It's great. There's a MODOK book that's really good. There's that Old Man Logan book that's not bad, where Old Man Logan's now in Battle World.
Yeah, that was a good one. I actually read that one.
Weird World, which is basically like, hey, we don't own Conan yet, and Jason Aaron wants to do Conan. We have this Conan-like book called Weird World, and let's Mike Del Mundo draw it, and it looks bonkers.
I didn't know this exists. I'm looking this up right now.
X-Men 92 by Chris Sims and Chad Bowers, and then basically continuing the continuity of the X-Men 92 cartoon show.
What?
Like,
what?
Yeah. There's also a book called Years of Future Past or something. I'm butchering the name.
Yes. X-Men 92. Oh my god.
No one told me about Weird World.
Yeah, X-Men 92 actually like spun out of Secret Wars, and then they did like a 10-issue mini, and the book capitalizes like the final arc of that book is Lilapalooza, an issue where Lila Cheney, who's like this rock girl character from New Mutants, puts on a concert with the Toadies and the Flaming Lips in order to create human and mutants.
Wow.
Hell yes. Of course the Flaming Lips were part of that.
Yeah, like Secret Wars is like the events rad, the tie-ins are rad. It the first issue is like not great. Like it's not until issue 2 where it gets like super good, and you see like this new battle world, and you get the map, and like every issue from like beginning to end, and most of the tie-ins are just super cool.
Yeah, the battle world map was so cool. I spent so long doing that. I based one of that map. It's a very cool comic series that if you are even thinking about reading something Marvel, you should definitely consider those books.
Poor Civil War, though.
Civil War 1, great. I didn't want to bring that up because I didn't know.
I haven't read Civil War 2. How bad is it?
Civil War 2 is... It starts off very good.
I'm talking about the Battle World, or the Secret Wars Civil War.
Was there a Secret War Civil War?
What?
Yeah, there was. Because they also did like them doing old stories. So there was like a Siege Battle World book. It was them retelling Siege in Battle World. And that book was rad because it was also done by this artist I really like. I forget who it was. Let me I can figure out how to spell Siege. I-E-G. There we go. Felipe Andrade, who is super good. Hello?
Oh, yeah, we're here. I think we're...
Sorry, I'm
sorry. I was like...
I had that same thing. Everybody got quiet.
We're all waiting.
I'm just listening. I'm just like...
yeah, like, Felipe Andrade is really cool. Like, he did, like, issues of Captain Marvel. He did some covers for, like, the John Carter books that they were doing for a little bit. Kind of doesn't get enough work, but his Siege stuff is like pretty good.
All right.
Oh yeah. Also, Captain Britain and the Mighty Defenders is great. Because that's also like written by Al Ewing, and Alan Davis like did the art, so it feels like old Excalibur. But it also has the Excalibur that I like. She is like a doctor, and she was in Captain Britain, the MI13. Fazia. Fazia Hussein.
Oh yeah, she's an awesome character.
Yeah, who like if there's like any like one character like outside of like the normal people who are like they should be in the next phase of like Marvel films. Like I want Fazia Hussein. Like I specifically want her.
They can do a lot of the Excalibur stuff because a lot of them are mutant.
Well, like specifically, like people are kind of like now, like, oh, like it'd be really cool if they did Captain Britain. And I'm like, yeah, it'd be really cool if they did Captain Britain, and instead of being the Captain Britain from the comics, they just make Fazia the new Captain Britain, because that's what they did with her in Battle World, and she was great.
Oh, see, my thought for Captain Britain was they should get Henry Cavill to play Captain Britain.
Oh god!
Can you imagine he just like that?
That would be like the biggest dick move.
The biggest fuck you in the face, DC.
It's like, oh, I get to be Superman, but I don't have to put on an accent.
Fuck yeah!
But I totally agree. Secret Wars is great.
I'm glad we could all come to agreement there.
I think it's me and John left. Did you? Oh no, do you want to go next, or do you want me to go next?
I can go next, but I also like wrote like 3 or 4 like different events I really like.
I have like 3 or 4, and I've been like trying to flip around which one I wanted to do. So hopefully there's some crossover.
Why don't you say all 3, and then whichever one all of us kind of agree on, we'll talk about.
Like it's not really like an event comic, but like I think Dark Reign is super great. Like I had a bunch of really cool tie-ins with like the Hood and Sinister Spider-Man and Zodiac and the Skrull Kill Crew and Young Avengers, and like there's a bunch of ongoings that had tie-ins to Dark Reign that I thought were really good. Like it's just like a really cool like year-long comic book story that I thought was like really fun. Siege I think is super underrated. This is like basically the end of Dark Reign. It is basically Norman Osborn losing his mind and is like, hey, let's go attack Asgard. That's like also flitting above Kansas at this point. And it basically leads to like this big giant fight between
Willem Dafoe is attacking Asgard. That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah. It's like the Dark Avengers. It's the Masters of Evil. It's like all the different villains who are like basically attacking Asgard. You have like the resistance of like Captain America, and a bunch of other characters who are like also showing up. This is like the first, like Siege is also important because it's like the first time you see like Cap, Thor, and Iron Man teaming up, kicking ass, fighting people. It's Oliver Copiel doing art. It just looks incredible. It's 5 issues, so just like each issue feels like it starts great, a big thing happens, and it ends on like a great cliffhanger. Like one of the issues of Siege, I think, is like the best cliffhanger to an event I remember reading, and it's just great. And like the big villain for this issue is the Void. Who I think is like
it's what's his name's like alter ego, right?
Yeah, so you have the Sentry, who's basically Superman for Marvel, who also is his greatest enemy because he has a split personality disorder where his greatest villain is himself, and he calls himself the Void. But yeah, Siege is great. Like you can it's quick, it's fast paced, it's what I wish more events were like, because I feel like too many events just, they have to be 10 issues or 12 issues, and they only feel like they need to be 6. And then Messiah Complex, I think is...
Oh, Messiah Complex is awesome.
Like, Messiah Complex got me back into X-Men. I think it was like a big crossover book with X-Factor and Uncanny and Adjectiveless X-Men and Young X-Men. And it basically was set after House of M, where there were no new mutants being born, and a bunch of the mutants lost their powers, and something happens to where one mutant is born, and basically becomes like this giant like run. Like you have the X-Men. You have
4 groups, I think.
Yeah, you have the X-Men, you have the Marauders, you have the Purifiers, and you have Sinister, and they're all like trying to get this baby.
Yeah, and it's the Marauders are led by Gambit, because Gambit's the head of one of the teams, or is he heading Sinister's team?
I do not remember, but
'Cause
I
he
know
plays a
that
big part in it.
because I know Cable was in a weird place around that time.
Yes, because it was after he made his island, which was actually an interesting story, I thought, too.
And this book was like really cool because I was also reading like Young X-Men, and like that was a book where like it was kind of like Harry Potter for the X-Men, and then M-Day happens and half the cast is killed. Like the first issue back with like new X-Men is like a bunch of them, like, but half the cast like lost their powers and then are put onto a bus and then are blown up by the purifiers, and it's just like, as a reader, I'm just like mortified because of like these characters I've kind of grown to like are now dying. And then with each new arc, it was like the surviving characters were like kind of picked off one by one. And then the arc before this happens, they get sent down to limbo, and Anoli loses an arm. Pixie like loses part of her soul, but they get out of it okay. Like, no one dies. And I'm just like, oh, like, everything's kind of working out now. And then, like, one of the big bads they had for Versailles Complex was Predator X, who, the first time you see Predator X, eats Mammomax, and you're just like, oh, God. And then, like, it's, like, building up to that's going to be this big fight between Predator X and the young X-Men. I'm like, oh, my God, all these kids are going to die. And it builds up like this really good tension. Like, I think like Messiah Complex was great. It got me back into X-Men at a point where I wasn't kind of like really sure where to get back into it, like other than Young X-Men. And it was recognizable enough, at least the character wise, to where like I can kind of get back into it. And then it basically built up like X-Men for like the next 8 years.
That's awesome. Those were all ones that I was still reading, like Marvel at the time. They were all books I liked. I love Dark Reign, and I do love the stuff that was going on during like Messiah Complex and like the whole mutant universe, and it was really interesting.
And then the one DC book, the one DC event I want to talk about that I personally love is Final Crisis. Like like of the pre 52 like DC events, I think Final Crisis is my favorite one. It's got that sweet New God stuff. It's got that sweet Grant Morrison like bizarreness to it. J.G. Jones does all the art for it, and it's great. It has great tie-ins with like Revelations, Rogue's Revenge. I think that book is rad.
Yeah. That is an awesome DC book. It is funny, as like a DC guy, the ones that I all thought of, like that popped in my head, were all Marvel books. So
yeah,
the first one that I was going to talk about, because I'll do the first two kind of chronologically, is World War Hulk.
That book is like the closest Marvel has ever done to doing Dragon Ball.
Yeah, it is just fucking awesome because it's like, oh, Hulk is strongest there is. And like just like every panel, like I love when he lands on the moon and it's just like one Black Bolt and he just is like, bring it. And he just I love his fight with Doctor Strange is amazing. He beats the shit out of all of the X-Men and he goes there and then he's like, because Xavier wasn't even part of the thing, and he's just like, would you have done it? He's like, yeah, I would have voted on it. And he just like wrecks Wolverine and basically just explains to him, it's like, yeah, your bones are made of metal, but your brain, that means that your brain is inside this metal skull. So every time I punch you, your brain is smashing into this adamantium over and over and over again. And then my favorite one, I think I've talked about it before, is the Ghost Rider tie-in. Is just like one of my favorite things in comics. Because basically like Iron Man and Doctor Strange are all sitting there like, holy shit, awesome, the Ghost Rider's here. Like, he's basically like, there's no way to measure how strong he is. And Ghost Rider drives all the way up to Hulk, gets off his bike, kicks the kickstand, stares eye to eye with like, they lock eyes, and just says, you're good. Like basically just says, you're good, turns around, gets back on his bike and leaves. And is like, nope, I completely agree with your vengeance. Like, just doesn't battle Hulk at all. And everyone just like shits their pants.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have mixed feelings on the way they ended it. I kind of love it, and I kind of think it's also a cop-out, but it is like
the cause of why
no. The last fight he has with the last person and how that ends. No, the whole ship thing I love. Like, I like that idea.
Is this fight with the Sentry?
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
Okay. I forgot, so.
Yeah. And then I'm not, like, all the stuff that kind of fall out from, like, Planet Hulk stuff that caused World War Hulk, I wasn't a huge fan of like, his two stupid sons and all that stuff, so. But, like, I think Planet Hulk as a whole was just, like, or World War Hulk, I mean, both of them, but World War Hulk specifically as a crossover event was, like, just showing, like, yeah, like, Hulk is, like, a different level kind of being, and it kind of solidified the fact that, like, yeah, he's a hero, but he is also probably, like, the most dangerous being on the planet most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Especially because he's not like. I also liked in that story that he is not dumb Hulk and he is not like what they call it, like smart Hulk, like the Banner Hulk kind of combo thing. He is like kind of a mixture where he can get just as angry. He's almost like the perfect manifestation of Banner kind of got control, but like lost a bit of his intelligence. Like he is just like kind of a dude, and he just has righteous fury, and you just want him to beat the shit out of everyone. The second one was Secret Invasion, which was the.
I've heard of that one. That's been on the list for.
Yeah, I've read some Deadpool comics from around that time.
Deadpool has a decent time. Deadpool's tie-in actually ends up being like hugely important into the overall Marvel universe.
Yeah, it does.
Because that's
like,
That leads
that
into
book start?
it leads into Dark Siege.
yeah,
Like directly, because he's the reason why Osborn is able to like do everything he ends up doing to be able to take over everything. But yeah, like Secret Invasion is pretty awesome. Basically, it's like the Skrulls have been like super sleeper agents, and so like the entire kind of story, because it's like isn't it like right after House of M?
It is. Yeah, I want to say
I
it
feel
was
like
like
it's
the next event after that.
Yeah, because House of M kind of kicked off the downfall of Tony, like the spiraling out of Tony. So before House of M, Tony was the Secretary of State, and then part of Scarlet Witch's stuff is that she
No. So House of M happens, and then the Civil War happens, and then
Secret Wars is after that.
and then World War Hulk happens, and then like, and this is like also like while like New Avengers is happening, and then they like accidentally kill Elektra, and they reveal that Elektra is
that is
actually
true.
a Skrull, and then
Yeah.
like that leads.
That's
to
the
Secret
kickoff.
Invasion.
Yes, because the lead-in is that there's after Civil War, there's two Avengers team. There's the Mighty Avengers, which is the Iron Man, Captain Marvel, like the Ms. Marvel, Carol Danvers team, and the other team is the Luke Cage led. It's like him, Wolverine, Spider-Man, Ronin. But I think it's Hawk. Is it? No, it's not Hawkeye Ronin. I think it's they don't know who Ronin is, right? Isn't that part of the story?
Yeah, I wasn't sure. I forget if it ended up being
Is it Echo at that point?
or if it was Hawkeye. I forget which one.
I think it's Echo at that point, but yeah, then they find and Spider-Woman is on that team, which obviously becomes like a huge thing.
Oh, yeah.
And Wolverine kills Elektra, and she turns into a Skrull, and they just are like, the fuck?
Oh, yeah, thank God she was a Skrull, or we'd have to, like, answer for something.
Yeah, they're like, oh man, Matt would be really pissed. And, like, what do we do? And, was it Spider-Woman's like, I'm pretty sure we should bring this to Tony. And they're
Yeah,
well, Tony's a douche. I don't know. It's interesting. It was a cool way to bring back a bunch of characters that were dead.
Well, and it was also like a way to kind of like hand wavy explain like the reason why like certain characters in Civil War were like very out of character.
Yes. It like fixed a lot of the issues of like Civil War, and it kind of like was like, oh, like this has been like they have been here and manipulating stuff for God knows how long. Like they still never really explained how long they've been there, but for like decades they've been like sleeper agents, and then it got like super dark in different things. And the one of the interesting aspects of it was that the people didn't know that they were Skrulls. Like the technique they went under.
Yeah.
Like made it so that they didn't know, because there was like a Captain Marvel running around, and they all had their powers too. But the tie-ins were great because there was I think this is where they did the Young Avengers Runaways crossover. There was a tie-in to it, and this is like Skrull Kill Crew like rolled out of this. So like they revamped 3D Man. There was like a bunch of awesome like tie-ins to it.
Mm-hmm. And they were doing like Young Avengers like runaway crossovers for like all the events. So like they had one for like Dark Reign and Civil War, and this. There's also like a really great like Incredible Hercules.
Oh, that's what I was going to bring up. Yeah,
where like Hercules and a bunch of other like
Hercules, Amadeus Cho, and deities, go to fight the Skrull gods, because if they beat them, then it'll take out their moral or their
sweet.
Yeah,
cool as hell.
Like Incredible Hercules, like 2000s is like a all-time like super underrated book.
Yeah, well, he took over the book after World War Hulk.
Yeah,
so they transferred the book to Hercules. I mean, yeah.
And it's funny because, like, also Captain Britain and the MI-13 also started around this point in Secret Invasion, and that's also just, like, an all-time, like, underrated book.
Oh, yeah, that's when they had Blade join Excalibur, which was fucking awesome.
Yeah, no, like Captain Britain and the MI-13 is, like, so rad. Like, Paul Cornell, Leonard Kirk, and, like, the team is, like,
Captain Hercules, and I'm like, wait a minute, what?
Yeah. The Hercules took over Hulk's book, and then there was like a bunch of interesting books that popped up at this time because because of Civil War, like a bunch of teams had to be formed, like for legality in like the post-Civil War world. And so England created their sanctioned team, like they turned Excalibur into like a part of MI system.
Yeah, so the first arc of the Captain Britain and the MI13 is Pete Wisdom,
who's Peter Pan, basically.
Finds out that from an informant named John the Skrull, who's John Lennon as a Skrull, because the Beatles because in the Marvel universe, the Beatles were Skrulls.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah.
Pete Wisdom finds out from John the Skrull that the Skrulls are now invading and that they are concentrating on invading England and
the British invasion. Oh my god.
No, and infiltrating Avalon to basically steal a bunch of magic artifacts and
like
then
Excalibur and stuff.
And then use it in like their army. Like there's like this super rad shot of there's like the Skrull Supreme, and it's like a scroll that looks like Doctor Strange. And they're like piling on all these like magic artifacts on him.
Yeah. That was one of the best parts of like the whole Secret Invasion was that like you had these weird combo scrolls of like different people's powers, but they'd also have parts of their costumes.
Yeah, but like this is like when you also get like Fazia Hussein, Black Knight, Spitfire, like that. Like Captain Britain and the MI13 is a super rad book. I think it's all on Marvel Unlimited. Like the first arc is Buck Wild, and it has two more arcs after it, and it just gets wilder and wilder. Like the third arc is about them fighting Dracula's army on the dark side of the moon.
Why does it sound like the best B movie ever?
Because they basically got a bunch of B characters. That's why, like, they got Blade to join, and they're like, he's like, I'm not British. He's like, well, technically, you were born in whatever country, and it was like it's under British rule, so technically, you're a citizen of the Empire. And they're like,
only because it sounds like something that like Bruce Campbell would star in, and I'm all for it.
Here, I'll put Captain Britain's wiki in the general chat. But like this book is just rad.
But like Spitfire is Nightcrawler's daughter, right? Or am I thinking of a different character?
Spitfire is like an old vampire lady.
Okay.
Who also like has like a relationship with Blade, and it's very adorable.
I just dropped a picture. So this is one of the scrolls that has like all of Spider-Man's villains. So he has the Shocker's gloves, the Rhino's helmet, Venom's body, Scorpion's tail. He's like the amalgam Venom, and he's fighting. Was that Jackpot? Like that shitty character?
That's Jackpot. Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, Secret Invasion is just super rad because it was just like crazy. Like it was just, and the idea of like you in any book you're reading, you have who is a Skrull and who's not. And I think it takes them like a really long time to like figure out how to like flip the switch and like see. And then it like there was a bunch of stuff where like Luke Cage and Jessica Jones' daughter is like kidnapped by a Skrull, and she's like an infant, and everyone just like stops. They're like, because it's like everyone stops caring about Civil War because they're like, this is like a completely different level of shit. Oh man, yeah, and it's interesting. I think I don't know. I like Secret Invasion. The last one I was going to talk about is actually the flip of what you talked about, John, which is Earth X, which is the Alex Ross drawn Marvel version of it, basically.
Wait, Alex Ross do for Marvel?
Oh yeah, he's done a bunch of stuff.
Who?
The guy who did the Kingdom
Come. Oh, okay, yeah, sorry. Yeah. Cool.
So basically, it's 3 parts. It's Earth X, Universe X, and Paradise X. And it was written by Alex Ross and Jim Kruger. Ross did all the cover stuff and like all the design, like the designs and stuff. And there's a lot of stuff that was kind of created in Earth X that is kind of built into the mythos now. Because it's like way in the future, like way crazy in the future. But like the redefining of people's power sets and how they work kind of like got written into like the Marvel ethos, and it is really weird. Some of my favorite parts are that like you see both a Spider-Man and a Wolverine that let themselves go because they're like in their like 60s.
I mean, that's kind of just like Into the Spider-Verse, right?
No, this is a picture of Spider-Man, and that his daughter is the Venom.
Ooh, yeah,
Spider-Man's daughter is Venom?
Yes, and that one that's like black with the red lining is his daughter, and she's Venom. Yeah, and it's totally awesome. Here's another thing. Captain America is like, this is, I think in this is like when the first time like he has Thor's hammer. at like points. So like Captain America doesn't have like his costume. He's an old man and he just wears an American flag like that.
Sweet.
That is Daredevil on the bike.
What? Hell yeah,
Oh my
dude.
gosh.
How can he
Oh,
see?
All right,
How
I'm
can he
down.
drive?
There's like an X-Men, but like it's like kind of a dystopian world where the world's been kind of broken up, and they do like some interesting things where there's like characters kind of talk to each other and they kind of explain like the weirdness of like how time travel and like a bunch of villains are actually the heroes that kind of got brainwashed and sent back into the past.
Huh. That's cool.
Yeah, so I'm trying to find. So like, yeah, the Thing has kids, and they're like little rock people. Here's like a bunch of the character designs. Like there's old man, like so. Odin is gone, so Thanos is like Odin. His daughter is now Thor, so we have like a female Thor.
Wow, that is gorgeous.
Yeah.
I love I think they're the Celestials on there. Just like the neon colors.
Oh yeah. It's like it gets super interesting, and it gets like it is like very interesting. Like a very religious-y story when it comes like Captain Marvel becomes this like Jesus-y figure. Because by the time you get to like Paradise X, the enemy is Death, like Thanos' wannabe girlfriend Death.
And Deadpool's actual wife.
Not like Hugh British Death.
Yes. And then the Red Skull is actually like a 12-year-old kid. There's some other, but like, yeah, the only members of the Fantastic Four. So, in part of the story, like, the Fantastic Four, some battle happened, and basically Reed Richards is wearing Doom's armor so that he can work in Doom's castle and not get attacked by all of his defenses. Because he's trying to find a way to time travel to like fix all the shit that went wrong. It gets like, it's really existential into like the ideas of like these beings being so powerful, and with things like the Infinity Gauntlet and like entities like Death, like what do these things actually mean like in the world? I think Hulk and Banner have been separated. So the Hulk in this world, like Banner here, if you see the next thing, Banner is actually a little kid. If you see the Hulk like in the left side, and the Hulk is like, so like the child, like Banner gets kind of reset even though he's still a genius, and Hulk is like this like giant gorilla that he kind of controls with his mind, and they have like a telepathic connection. It's just really goddamn weird. Oh, and
See, I like weird. Show me more weird.
Half of Namor's body is on fire.
Well, that's how it should be.
Like permanently, like
Good.
permaflame. I didn't realize this has like DC stuff. I guess he drew something where it's like Kingdom Come versus Earth X. But yeah, there's like a ton of crazy ass shit in this book. Because Wolverine is married to Jean Grey and Cyclops is married to the Phoenix.
Well, at least they finally found a way around that complicated tryst.
Yeah, and Wolverine and Jean Grey are both fat.
That makes sense for Wolverine, though. Wolverine, in my mind, is a 5-foot Canadian stout man.
Why is Wolverine wearing a "I'm with stupid" shirt?
Because he's given up. Like a whole part of the plot is that like the reason like his healing factor doesn't work is that he's kind of given up. So
I feel like there's a reason why like this is not as well remembered as Kingdom Come.
Oh, it's definitely less good. There's just a lot of like character things for some like side characters that were created in this.
Like this image of Wolverine looks like Wolverine Bob Hoskins.
Oh yeah, that's kind of what he's supposed to be, because I can't remember. I think Cyclops goes to him and is like, "What the shit is wrong with you?" I don't know. It was like, I think I read Kingdom Come and this back to back because of the art and stuff, and it was, I don't know. It's a lot longer than Kingdom Come because it is 3 like full stories. But it is definitely interesting. The interior art is not done by Alex Ross, just the character designs and then the covers. But it does introduce like a bunch of really cool ideas with like kind of D-level characters like the Absorbing Man and oh my god, Molecule Man become like huge figures in this story. As well as Wong, like Doctor Strange's buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know, it's a very weird book, but it's like a very memorable one to me. Of like these like crazy character designs and looks. And the only other one I thought of was like the Marvel Zombie. But I ended up giving up on that after like a while. But the initial run was goddamn fantastic.
It's funny because I think Marvel Zombies gets like a little bit better as it goes on than in like that initial run. Like but I think that's like also like I think it's like, are you looking for Night of the Living Dead or are you looking for Return of the Living Dead? Where like Return of the Living Dead
Good
is like
distinction.
more like cartoony and funny and like tongue in cheek, while Night of the Living Dead and like what George A. Romero was doing with like that Dead series like long afterwards was like serious social commentary.
Yeah. All right. We have been going on for like a very long time. I just realized. So
Yes.
I'm sorry. I just want to say Milk Wars is great, and everyone should have.
Fuck me. I gotta read that. That's like the next one on the list.
Like I was going through events, and I was like, man, like all these like New 52 events are like garbo, and I don't like any of them. And then I was like, oh yeah, Milk Wars, great. Put a pin in that.
Yeah, I really like Gerard Way as a writer, so yeah, I gotta go read Milk Wars.
Like John, are you familiar with Milk Wars?
I am, yes.
Yeah, that book is rad.
I gotta find the third trade, but yeah, sorry, go on, Lou.
No,
it's all one trade.
Oh, is
I
it?
just appreciate the Gerard Way from My Chemical Romance co-wrote thing.
And it's fucking awesome. He's a great writer.
Yeah, Milk Wars is all in one trade.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's great for me then. Because I have the first two, volume 2, so if I could pick up volume 3 and read all of it at once, that'd be killer.
All right. So why don't we wrap up and do a quick round of plugs and then head out of here? John?
I'll go first. Oh no, John. John, guess
Doesn't
first,
matter.
please.
Okay,
Oh jeez.
Sorry, go ahead.
Guess new John.
New John. Okay, yeah. I'm on Twitter, JamScott193, and you can find me bouncing around in the Phantom Zone on Facebook.
I guess second John, OG John.
You can find me at John JOHN _FN _Seiler SEILER. Where I talk about basically like new stuff that's coming out for our company, which is Faku. We're basically make Japanese porn. We're the largest publisher of it in the United States. I can also talk about like a bunch of other stuff and what comics I read for the week and all that. It's pretty fun.
Yeah,
do it.
Oh, Connor.
Okay, you can follow me on Twitter. I'm at Question Connor. Follow me on Instagram. I'm Maybe Connor. And I write for The Lost Horror whenever I shoot, I guess. And that's losthorror.wordpress.com. Did I get it right that time?
Yes,
sweet. All right, I'm doing better now. Other than that, yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right, and then also for Lost Horror, me and John and Alan also do Legion of Tunes. We just recorded an episode last week that dropped where we watched Rama 1/2, which was John's pick. So you can check that out. And then our next episode will be next week, which is my pick. And we are watching Undergrads, the 2002 MTV cartoon.
Nice.
I remember
that
show.
Solid pick.
Yeah. So check that out. Alan also has another podcast on Lost Horror, which is Lost Horror Games. Obviously, they talk about video games. And then me and Alan on Tuesdays do Smallville Chronicles, where we are watching Smallville. And this coming week, we will have an episode that stars the star of Conor McGraw's movie dumpster movie that he just did a couple episodes ago, Luck of the Irish, as the villain of the week who gets straight up murdered by Clark Kent.
Like straight up murdered or implied?
He heat beams his like tires on his car while he's driving almost 200 miles an hour.
Yeah, that'll do it. That's death.
That is death.
That is death right there.
So his car rolls and like flies. There's obviously circumstances because his friend is a douche and got him into a bad circumstance, and basically just goes, yeah, he straight up is dead and I'm the reason. So screw you, guy.
Screw you.
All right. So check all that stuff out. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to everything. And we will see you guys next week. Adios.
And I love you.
Goodbye.
No, I thought you were going to do a joke about Norman Osborn.
No, that was
sick.
That was pretty much perfect.
There is no way out of here. That is the point of the Phantom Zone.